Very good evening, everybody. Nice to have your company wherever you're tuning in all around Australia or indeed the world on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. Welcome as we bring you the commencement of week 4 of season 1 of 2024. Yep, term 1, week 4, night 1. And first up, the assignment is the Oran Park Raceway in Narella, New South Wales. That's for Player 1 Sim Gear Supercar Racing. The Super2 series firing up in just a few moments' time. And, of course, we get stuck into GT3 for waste options from Road Atlanta and a 60-minute affair there. Let's have a look at the track and weather information for you right off the top here. February 12, 2024. The date's actually right this time around. Brilliant. At 3:30 in the afternoon, we're looking at 38% humidity, 29 degrees the ambient, 46 on track, and 14 km/h winds. 2.62 kilometres this circuit, famed for its previous life as a real-world racetrack, and, of course, lives on in the sim world. Greg Favell on top of the points table at the moment, quite comfortably ahead of Damien Cairns. 9 points back from Cairns to Tony Baker, Leith McClelmont, and Will Buchanan make up the top 5. Michael Hammond is 6th and a potential scratching tonight. Grid: Greg Favell, Jaden Green, the front row, Damien Cairns, Tim Nicol, the second, Alex Court, Sean Hart, the third, Stephen Varga, and then probably the absent Michael Hammond from the fourth row, Will Buchanan and Greg Brooks from row 5. And that just reminds me, Greg sent me a message in Discord after last week's broadcast. I haven't had a chance to reply to him yet. Haven't been in Discord for a week. Blake Fitzpatrick, Alan Geel from row 6, Lorne McKee and Adam Proctor from 7, Michael Fraser and Leith McClelmont from 8, Nick Fodiatis, David Christensen, the two teammates for Bailey Ladders there and Aussie Races down there in the 9th row, and then of course Chris Stark and Bradley Curtin from the 10th row to make up the 19 car field that will contest this round of the championship. Ready to fire? No Greg Brooks, no Blake Fitzpatrick just yet. We're waiting for them to join us on row number 5 there. It's interesting that they're both absent at this point. They're fast running out of time to join the queue. Big night tonight. Big week, really. Thursday night, normal programming resumes after a couple of Thursdays off. I'll be back in the booth and looking forward to that immensely for Formula V and Porsche Cup action. And then, of course, all the attention and focus of the motorsport world turns to the real world. But I'll get back to that a little bit later on. Greg Brooks starting from pit lane. Michael Hammond at on starter. Round 4 is ready to fire. Let's go from Oran Park. Fodiatis and Christensen a little bit slow away at the back. At the front, it's a beautiful start for Jaden Green. And slicing through on the inside of Damien Cairns was Tim Nicol. Once again, Greg Favell has been swamped off the start. He's missed the jump for the 3rd week in a row. Pavel and getting these cars off the line is not a good relationship at the moment. Botched the start again. Alex Court jumps up into 4th place in the Caltex-inspired livery there that you see. Pavel trying to get by on the inside over the bridge. Jeez, that'd be game. This racetrack not known for its amount of overtaking opportunities. But as I say, deep in Australian motorsport history. A little bit more to be written here tonight in the virtual world. Up over the dogleg and down to the left-hander that'll bring him back onto the main straight. One down. We go at about a minute 4 a lap around here. So, I mean, we're pushing 23, 24 laps tonight, race distance. Because if you're going 64 seconds for a lap time, which is what they were punching out in qualifying, well, at least Greg Favell was. Whoa, there we go. There goes Tim Nicol, locking it up at turn 2 and dropping a bunch of spots. Down behind Stephen Varga and Blake Fitzpatrick. Rejoins in 7th now to Tim Nicol. That's going to be the tail of the tape tonight, I think. Have a look at Favell. Hung out to dry by Alex Court, trying to go around the outside, and now leaves himself open to being overtaken and relegated further by Sean Hart. Across the bridge they go. Hart had to back out of it. Pavel covered him off just on the bridge. They were never going to get through there if Hart wanted to force the issue. The elbows are out early in Western Sydney. So yeah, can you believe it? Week 4 of Term 1 already. Season 16 for the Gentleman Sim Racing Club in total. Remembering that this all started at the height of the first wave of COVID back in April 2020. Across the line we go. 2 laps gone. Green cans. Court, Favell and Hart. Green a 106.56. So, I mean, we're nowhere near that qualifying pace just yet. But if we're basing it on those numbers of 106, say, that's going to be 10 laps every 11 minutes. So that's going to get you 20 laps in... because 10 by 6 is 60, so there's an extra minute chewed up. So there's 20 laps in 22 minutes, and that leaves you a little bit of room for change, including a transit down pit lane. So it'll either be 22 or 23 laps tonight, ladies and gentlemen, depending upon how long that pit lane transit is. Good evening to Adam Lavis.
Evening, Zach. How are we doing?
Very well, mates. Oran Park, an old favourite, not reflected by the booming numbers on the grid that we've had here in the past, but still, we'll go for quality over quantity.
Oh, still 20 cars around here. It's going to be hectic.
Oh, there's trouble. And that was unfortunately started by, I think it was McClellan's teammate up there on the outside, trying to rejoin the racetrack and get off the grass. McClellan went left to give him a little bit of room. Unfortunately, waiting for him there, as you will have seen, was Adam Proctor.
Yeah, it's a little bull ring, this track, very narrow, tricky to pass, figure 8, so a bit even on both sides of the tyres. Here's Favell with a sneaky little sneak.
Oh, and an elbow and a hip and shoulder to go with it. Alex Court hung out to dry.
That's the worst spot. Once you're there,
to the wolves.
Once you're there on this track, you're there for a long time.
Oh yeah, Court's up against it at the moment, up over the bridge. Now tucks back in, but the damage done because he left the door open for Stephen Varga to pounce as well.
Well, it was kind of forced open, but you know.
Well, yeah, he couldn't get back across. No sooner did Hart get by him, and Varga was jamming it down the inside. We'll have some interesting replays to have a look at here very shortly. 4 laps gone already, and 4.5 minutes gone as well. Green across the line, the leader. Going to be a long way back for Greg Favell from here. He's 2.6 seconds down on Jaden Green. 106.547 for Green, the fastest club of the race thus far. Exciting times in Australian motorsport, of course. We had a very exciting opening round of the Shannon Speed Series on the weekend. Carnage in the Trans Am series, and also, of course, some good stuff in TCR. I've got invested in TCR because I've got a few friends in that paddock, including a local up here in Ipswich, Ryan Casher, also the category manager, Lisa Titani, as well. Bradley Curtin down there in 19th, having a spin, just coming out of turn 4. And Curtin now relegated to last, running in the order. Michael Hammond, a non-starter for those who are just joining us. He's a little bit bruised and battered at the moment, our mate Mikey, and he only realised how in pain he was when he jumped behind the wheel for qualifying, Adam. So when you look at the fact that he put it on grid position number 8, that wasn't too bad, all things considered.
He put in a decent effort, but he was struggling by the end of quality. So 25-minute race is probably not going to do his mending any favours.
Not at all. We wish him well, though. And if you're joining along tonight at home, you're tuned in, you're watching the broadcast and kicking back, relaxing with a cold one or an evening meal, whatever the case may be. We hope you enjoy the ride, and we hope you'll stick with us right throughout the evening, right through till about 10:30 tonight. There's Leif McClymont getting hung out to dry as Greg Brooks goes through on the inside, and David Christensen prior to that. Interesting. The reason I say that too, ladies and gentlemen, no extracurricular sporting events on tonight. No need to have the dual screen setup going, of course. If you are a swimming fan, and we all are in Olympic year, the World Championships continue from Doha in Qatar tomorrow morning, 3 a.m. Eastern on 9. The heats for the second day of proceedings wrapping up a short while ago over on 9 Gem. But yes, Monday Night Motorsport with no other sport distractions, which is a good thing. But feel free to join in the discussion. I've got the live chat open on my Facebook feed here. No comments as yet, but feel free to tune in. Give us your thoughts. Obviously, the supercar debacle that we were talking about this time last week is still unknown to most of the general public. I, for one, enjoyed TCR over the weekend, and a lot of people we no doubt focused on this weekend when Real World Motorsport, here's a replay of the start and all the garbage that entailed. The first couple of corners were relatively clean, but the rest of it is what we'll have a look at later on.
We'll just take a look at Greg's start there. He got lots of wheel spin. He sort of half bogged it and then wheel spin, so he got the worst of both worlds. Yeah,
exactly. 3 strikes and you're out sort of thing. All eyes this weekend on Daytona, Friday morning for the Jewels and Monday morning for the 500. NASCAR up and away for 2024. And, of course, on Mount Panorama this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, on the screens of 7 and Fox for the Bathurst 12-hour, and that's going to be a lot of fun too. Riding on board with Stephen Varga. And just look and listen as well, folks, as to how hard these guys put through their paces and put to work here at Oran Park. Steering wheel's constantly being worked, and it's a delicate balance between full throttle and modulating the brakes and the gear changes as well. It's a very busy lap, 2.62 kilometres and 12 turns. And one small mistake can cost you a mile around here, especially if you're trying to set up and execute an overtaking opportunity. As I've mentioned earlier, they are not the easiest thing to pull off. He had that wheel almost on opposite lock going through turn 3. Extraordinary. Here comes Greg Favell. Favell's reeled Jaden Green in. Greg Favell is jamming it up the back of Jaden Green here. It is nose to tail, bumper to bumper. And now he's applying the pressure. Here we go. Down the inside, going into the dogleg, can't get it done. Will he try and set it up a move going into turn 12? No, not yet. Green got a little bit loose there, a little bit squirrely. Going around onto the main straight. That might open the door for Favell to have a crack down at turn 1 under brakes. Let's have a look. In the slipstream, Favell to pull out and have a crack. The lead on the inside, Green to turn 1. Green goes deep and holds on for now. I think Favell might try and set it. Oh, no, Green's just opened the door. I was just about to say if Green could have kept Favell at bay, and he wasn't able to do so, but if you can keep Favell at bay, he would have been able to maybe pull Favell along a little bit longer. Favell save a little bit of fuel. We saw him apply the same tactics last week at Magello, didn't we? Adam Lavis, whereby he was happy to let the boys at the front drag him along for a little bit, and then he'd eventually get sick of it and say, right, now I want to lead from the front and drop the hammer and go. And he's doing that right now.
Indeed, Greg's a wily racer. He's got some pace in these big broody V8s. It's one of his bread and butter cars. But he also, he came up. He was also the mountain men with us on Saturday in the 86s. Had a little bit of a struggle on those. They were a little bit outside of his comfort zone, but very fun times. Indeed.
No, he's one of the natural born performers in this club. I mean, yes, he's got versatility. We don't see as much of it on broadcast as we'd like, because we've got him here just rolling through his paces. Bradley Curtin off the road again. But yeah, here it's just as though he's in his natural habitat. There's no doubt about that. And one of the, I can't say benchmarks because it's not Matthew Dench, it's Greg Favell. He's one of the benchmarks in the club, though. And this is, as you say, this is his bread and butter. He often, as we have a look at this battle between David Christensen and also Greg Brooks, he often sets down the benchmark numbers, and he's in early. He's come in at the end of lap 11. He's come in. Oh, no, he's gone on. Oh, he's throwing me a dummy. He's throwing me a dummy.
It's the running against the wall on the exit of the last corner. So you give it a couple of seconds to make sure it stays there before you call it.
Copy. Oh, dear. Down to turn one, they'll go this time round. We've got Adam Proctor in 12th place, Nick Fodiatis 13th. Nick's in. Nick is definitely in.
First one
that
in.
We can confirm. Normally, Fodiatis opts to go long, but he is the first to pit last. One of his other trademark sayings on this occasion. Greg Brooks, of course, started from pit lane, so we can't read too much into that. And Stephen Varga came in at the end of lap 9. So these guys actually aren't the first in. Varga came in at lap 9. But yeah, So basically, to put a full stop on what we're saying about Greg Favell, yeah, this is his playground, and we are merely just participants in his party.
I have to correct myself too. I think it was one of the other Gregs, not Greg Favell, who was that day. So I may have misspoken there. Yeah,
I was going to say I was a little bit thrown by that, because I was like, hang on. Normally, I'm just used to seeing him in a supercar. That's normally his focus.
Greg did, I think it was a season or two ago, he came and he put in a big effort for one of the Mountain Men series and won a few races, but eventually the life or whatever got on the road, so he didn't manage to get to all the events, but he was definitely putting up a bit of a fight to get a win properly. He's definitely there.
Copy that. Favell, Green, Cairns, Hart, Court, Ben Fitzpatrick, Nicol, Geel, Buchanan, McKee, Fraser, Proctor and Brooks at the moment, the top 13. That order, not a fair reflection of where things sit now that we've got pit lane transit underway. But yeah, we have that. It's good that we're exploring this topic, because it allows us to say, again, we've got that mix of guys that have showcased that versatility week in, week out. And Ryan Shaw tuning in, cheering on Jaden Green. Coming down the main straight, Damien Cairns has come into pit lane. And hello to David Kirby up there in Townsville as well, who's tuning in via Facebook Live. And Matt Dench is a versatile performer, even though, most of his success has come in the GT formulas. We've seen him ply his trade in other formats and other categories. Greg, on the other hand, is one of the guys that we would normally associate with being a one category champion, and as we say, he is the king of this caper at the moment. So we've got an eclectic mix, guys that love trying their hand at just about anything, and then guys that want to apply their trade and be brilliant in one category and bugger everything else.
And it's one of those things too, like there's some people when it comes to supercars, there's guys that are faster in the 2014s and slower in the 2019s or vice versa. But that's not Greg. Greg is the current 2019 champion and current 2014 champion. So he went back to back in two different eras of V8s. David Kirby, he's the one-make champion.
That's it. Jaden Green and Tim Nicol into pit lane at this point in time, and Trent Nail tuning in as well, loving how close the top 5 are here. Yeah, well, apart from Greg Favell, he's just taken off. He's gone. He, as I say, often will lead from the front and send the message to those following, catch me if you can. But it's not as though he comes in here and dominates and then just takes off. He's actually been charged with the task in recent weeks of helping the field out by providing them with setups for certain circuits like the Jello, which we visited for the first time last week. So he's a good sport. He's a great part of the club. But at the same time, you can only teach these guys so much. Some natural instinct and talent very much directly associated with Favell's success here. Same can be said for Matt Dench and a few others too.
Third place.
Sean Hart, Alex Court, and Blake Fitzpatrick go through. Greg Favell does come into pit lane this time round. That was Damien Cairns having a lock-up and skirt through the sand trap at turn 3 and clouding the tyre wall as well.
And he was effectively third, so that's a big costly mistake there.
Favell and Gilles, 4 and 6 at the moment. They're in pit lane. The rest of the field making their way through. Stephen Vargas come back out in 7th position. Tim Nicol, Jaden Green in behind him. And we're watching, of course, Lorne McKee on screen at the moment. Chasing Starkey, being pursued, hounded by Adam Proctor. Sean Hart, Alex Court and Blake Fitzpatrick. 1, 2 and 3 at the moment. 7 minutes to go. I'm particularly excited about us getting to Road Atlanta a little bit later on this evening for our coverage of the Waste Options GT3 Championship, the 4th round and the second 60-minute affair of the season. We're off to Bathurst in a couple of weeks too in that championship, so exciting times. How's Will Buchanan going? At the moment, he's down in 11th place, but he is one of many that have already completed their pit stop, Dave, so keep an eye on that. McClymont, Fitzpatrick, Hart and Court. He's probably only going to be worried about Court, Hart and Fitzpatrick in that. He'll have McClymont covered. Court, Hart and Fitzpatrick have been embroiled in a duel, in a battle for many laps now. Court continuing to lead the way. They are on lap 17. We're pushing 20 minutes of racing time here, so we won't be too far away.
We just go when Court just managed to get the lead here, so he's putting himself a lead lap here, possibly, if he gets back to lane.
It's a really good result for him if that is the case. So just having a look at...
He's managed to pull a little gap here too, so if he pits and keeps his gap, it's going to help him out here. He's going to go for another lap.
So they're going to continue on and go to lap 18. 19 minutes gone. Look, if I was a gambling man, I'd say 22 laps was a safe bet from me tonight on the old Zaculator, as they affectionately refer to it around here. Because we'll have a little bit of overtime there to play with. It'll only be about 1 minute and 4 seconds of overtime to play with, but... Every track is the length of the lap, the time of the lap is the dictator as to determining how long the overtime window is, and that'll get us probably to 22 laps, which means these guys should be coming in any tick of the clock to complete their splash and dash. 20 minutes gone, 5 minutes to go, 80% race distance covered.
Battle of the Sheep Stations here back in the just outside top 10 here.
They continue on to the main straight. Lorne McKee in 16th place. chasing Chris Stark, Adam Proctor as well. Court comes in. The rest soldier on. Hart and Fitzpatrick soldier on to another lap. Greg Favell's the one I'm keeping an eye on here.
The interesting one is Tim. So most of the guys are taking about 10, 11 seconds of fuel. Tim Nichols only taken 5. So he may have an invoice to pay here, or he's playing a blinder.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, he's gone. That's Starky.
Oh, Stark, no. Alex Court did it out in 4.97 seconds. Greg Favell came across the line as the effective race leader with well over 4 minutes to go. So it will be 4 laps from there for Greg Favell. Getting us back to the line. He set the fastest lap of the race as well, a 105.595. We've got nowhere near the qualifying times. And this is Sean Hart leading Blake Fitzpatrick back onto the main straight. It hasn't been a bad race, this one. Do they both dive this time round? No. Let's go again. Although these two blokes have got to be careful. Got to be real careful, because if they bring it back to the line at the current pace, they're going to drag the field out to 23 laps. And there'll be a few people quite annoyed at that if they do that. They would come back to the line somewhere in the last 10 seconds of regular time.
Oh!
And force an extra lap! Fitzpatrick to the lead! Hard a little bit wide. Through turn 3. Fitzpatrick down the inside. Blake leads at Oran Park. Now the pressure's on. The race is on. Down to turn 12. Is this the lap they come to pit lane, or are they going to try and stretch this out down the main straight? Fitzpatrick has continued on, but Hart has dived in. Maybe, just maybe, Fitzpatrick will have to dive in next time by. Greg Favell fourth at the moment, following Leif McClymont through. McClymont will bring us back onto the main straight. McClymont hasn't yet stopped either. That's about to change. No, he goes round again as well. McClymont's going on. Favell's sitting back, thinking, what's going on here? He's got Hart covered off, that's no worries. But he's not catching McClymont. Hasn't even really engaged in a battle there, They're not technically racing for race position or track position, but if McClymont doesn't want to stop for fuel, they will be. So he bailed out of it.
Oran Park is one of those tracks where it's not that heavy on fuel, because there's so much like off or partial throttle. It just naturally saves fuel as it is. So if you do a little bit on top of that, sometimes you can stretch your numbers out and break the system.
Keep an eye on it, folks. Round we go. Fitzpatrick has continued on again, which would drag the field out. Now, I'm telling you, he's a quarter of the way through this lap. If he gets back to the line, he's going to drag this race out to 23 laps. In fact, he would have to anyway. McClymont goes on as well.
He already has. He's into the go-kart section now. So.
Yeah, no. And more to the point, he's going to drag it out to 23 because he hasn't seen the white flag yet. So irrespective of whether he comes to pit lane or not, this race goes an extra lap because those blokes haven't pitted. Wow. There you go. I said 22, 23. 22 would have been a solid bet, a safe bet with everyone stopping for fuel. But Fitzpatrick and McClymont are trying to stretch the length and width and breadth of the fuel tank. 18 seconds of regular time to go. Round onto the main straight. Fitzpatrick will see the white flag this time by. Unless he has to come to pit lane. No, bad luck. Down into pit lane he goes. Wow. And that leaves us with a unique situation. We're into overtime and Greg Favell will now see the last lap board. Favell will see the last lap board after time has elapsed. Thanks very much, Blake. Everyone's got to get an extra lap out of the tank now. How low on juice are some of these cars going to be when they trickle across the line? Let's wait and see. At least Barney's doing his job. Not you can bloody well see the flag from the cockpit.
There's a few.
He's behind the traffic lights.
Been caught up next lap.
McClymont Court's in as well. Stark's been in there on the tow rope for about 4 3/4 minutes. So too Bradley Curtin for 11 1/4. McClymont Court in. That's unlucky for Alex. Brought undone by the extra lap. Favell will win at Oran Park, but not without some drama. The battle for second is still up for grabs. It's Varga and Green. Nicholas fourth, Hart is fifth. Then Cairns, Fitzpatrick and Geel, and Buchanan's got up into the top 10. David Kirby will be happy about that. Last turn, checkered flag eventually. 1.25 later than expected. Greg Favell still finds his way to the top step of the summit and prevails in a nail-biter. A nail-biter on fuel tanks and numbers. The race was anything but because the
Nickel's out. Nickel's out.
Second dominant. Nickel drops 3 spots on the line and drops down to 7th. Hart jumps up to 4th, Cairns to 5th, Fitzpatrick to 6th.
So
Varga and Green unimpeded. They're on the podium, 2nd and 3rd.
that extra lap
has
cost a few. They had to pit. And Nichols, all he needed was 1 more litre of fuel. He only took 5 seconds, so he'd already shortchanged himself knowing he could do his own fuel numbers. And if he just went 1 extra litre to play it safe, he would have got those extra 3 spots. Just very harsh way to lose a couple of spots there with the way the iRacing algorithm works with the white flag.
Indeed. Extraordinary. I mean, well done to the likes of Sean Hart and Blake Fitzpatrick, who went as far as they could, like 20 and 22 respectively, and still netted top 6 finishes. Nickel coughs and splutters to 7th. Buchanan gets to 8th on that after Alan Geel lost out on 8th in the final run to the line. Fraser, Fodiatis in 11th. Proctor, McKee, Christensen and Court. That's unlucky for Alex in 15th place, down 10 spots. Biggest mover in the positives for the night was Nick Fodiatis, up 6 spots. So he'll be a happy chappy when he comes in to say hello shortly. Although one of those was gifted to him by default of Michael Hammond not starting his teammate. So yeah, there you have it. Round 4's in the can. Round 4 is done. Not without drama, but good entertainment. Great entertainment all the way through. Favell, Van Varga, Green, Hart, Cairns, Fitzpatrick, Nickel, Buchanan, Geel and Fraser, the top 10. For the first time in a while, our good mate Trucker Joe Baldwin graces us with his presence on a Monday night. Hello, Trucker.
Good evening, Zach. How are you, mate?
Next question, please. I don't know how I am at the moment. Tired, weary, jaded. Anyway. But no, pumped up for GT3s in a short while from Road Atlanta and looking forward to that. Before I get to you on pre-existing topics, and there's a reason why Ashley Liz joined us as well. There's an Aaron Russell, if you don't mind. There you go. There's a name I remember from way back. Jason Scholar, Aaron Bryan, Cade Donnelly, Troy Davidson, Sam Stride, James Boardman, Greg Spencer, and Joe Baldwin, the top 10 in the Super 3 race. Not the biggest fields that we were anticipating, probably, numbers out the gate tonight for Oran Park, because it is Oran Park. That wasn't the case. However, before we talk about your respective races, gentlemen, let's just get your thoughts on Mountain Men, Joe. I haven't had a chance to chat to you about this over the last couple of weeks. How's 2024 going for Mountain Men so far?
I'm actually not sure. I've had some real life stuff. I've been really busy, which is why I haven't been in here. I've got some real life stuff going on, so I actually haven't partaken in the Saturday night race. But from what I can see in the chat group, they had a great race on Saturday night. So hopefully this week I might actually get in there and do a couple of laps. But I haven't actually been on track in the Mountain Men this season at all. So that's probably a question for Adam, I think.
All right, Adam, you may as well take Joe's place there because I wasn't aware that the Great Man hasn't been in on a Saturday night because that is his baby. I know it would be hurting you, Joe, to miss out on that.
It does. Yeah, it does sit out, but it's sometimes real life stuff's just got to take priority, and we got a bit going on here at the moment. So been doing a lot of stuff in the real world. So, but hopefully get up on the mountain this Saturday night.
But by real world stuff, he means he's sitting in the bathtub with his trophy from last season. Going, my precious.
Yes, it might have pride of place on the TV up in the right hand corner. You never know.
Indeed. All right, Trucker, Oran Park, top 10 finish. Happy?
No, not at all. Should have been the other end of the top 10. I made a mistake. I saved tyres, saved fuel, was doing good running there with Aaron, the two Aarons actually. There's another Aaron there somewhere. I can't think who it was, but anyway, there was Aaron and there we go. Aaron Bryan, Ashley Lear, and Jason Scully and myself had a good battle in the top 4. Couple little mistakes from the guys, and I was sitting in second when I went into the pits, and coming out I had the lead and made a mistake and just was too busy looking in the mirror to see where Jason was and drove completely off the blue line, over the hump and over the solid white line that dictates the track, and got a drive through. So I think I came out about 18th and fought back into the top 10 in the last few laps. So pace wise I was pretty happy. I was certainly on pace with the guys up there in the top 3, and probably should have been there. So not too bad for a bit of a cameo, but it's a track I enjoy and generally do fairly well at. So I don't put too much into it as far as overall pace goes, but it was fun nonetheless. I did enjoy it.
Very nicely done. We've got a cast of thousands in here, Trucker, joining us on a Monday night for a chat. Are you sticking around or going? Are you running GT3 or not?
No, I'm not running GT3, mate. I'm up early in the morning at the moment. So Wednesday night in the Porsches has been the one I've been staying up late for this week. So I think it's Wednesday night will be about all I can do until this daylight saving thing goes away.
Okay. Although that being said, it's an early start for you is actually earlier at the moment than what it would be. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Because I was going to say it's only 20 past 5 over there at the moment, whereas it would be 20 past 6 when daylight saving finishes. But that's another story. Don't get me started on that, Joe. It's a very sensitive topic at the moment. Yes. We'll chat off air. Stay there for me. Catch up with you very shortly. Let's bounce across a couple of the Super 2 guys and have a chat to, firstly, Ashley Lear. Well done, mate. Great race win for Super 3. Talk us through your night at Oran Park, please.
Oh, yeah, it didn't go too bad. A couple of mates wanted to do the race, so I thought I'd better just rock up and join them as well for a bit of fun. Completely blew the start off the line and lost about 7 positions and had to work my way back through again. It was actually a pretty good race. There was a few good battles with some guys through the field. It was good.
Indeed. And Oran Park's an old favourite, so no wonder the mates wanted to come out and have a spin. It's the old spiritual home of motor racing in Sydney and supercars specifically, or the Australian Touring Car Championship as it was back in the day.
Oh yeah, for sure, and it's been on iRacing for a long time. I've done a few races here years ago with this old car. It was good to go back to something from that long ago. So it still feels pretty familiar, to be honest.
Indeed. Now, you mentioned that a few of the mates roped you in for it. Does that mean we're going to see you and the mates turn up in Super 3 regularly on a Monday night or not?
Probably sort of depends on the track and what we're all doing, I guess. We sort of certainly enjoyed it tonight, so it's certainly not off the cards.
Adam Lavis, we better flick the calendar up on the screen here just to show these blokes what we've got to look forward to over the next 6 weeks. Laguna Seca next up, then Mid-Ohio. Barber Motorsport Park, that'll be a beauty. Long Beach, the old Concrete Canyon, then on to Donington Park, and I reckon everyone's booking out Monday, March 25 to have a run around Phillip Island and the Grand Prix circuit there for the final race of the season, and that one will be the longer race, 45 minutes instead of the usual 25. Give us a little bit of the background. Firstly, who are the mates, and how do you find out about what we do here at the GSRC?
Actually, the main guy that got us into it was Chris Noble, who's won the Formula Vs a couple of years running, I reckon.
Star performer in Formula V.
he goes all right. So there's obviously him in this race and Sam Stride, and then Aaron Russell ended up finishing second there.
I'm going to Mr. Russell in just a moment, actually. But before that, what else is on the agenda? I know Chris will be, hopefully, we'll be seeing him on Thursday night in the Formula V. What about the rest of you blokes? Will we see you pop up anywhere else? We've got GT3 coming up very shortly. We've got some great racing across the course of the week.
We have been doing a bit of that prototype challenge thing on Tuesday nights. That series with the Aston Martin and the Corvette.
GT1, Pete Matson and Joe Baldwin and a few others are very big on the GT1s. Yeah. So
that's a good fun car to drive.
They certainly are. We're just trying to prop the numbers up there a bit, so it's nice that you blokes are helping with that. What are we? 25 past. We've got 20 minutes here. I'm going to leave you with it on that note, Ash. Well done on the win. Well done on bringing a few mates along, and well done to Chris Noble for roping you blokes in the first place. Go well for the rest of the season. Hopefully we'll see you on a more regular basis.
Yeah, thanks for the chat.
Mr. Russell, good evening to you. Nice that you can grace us with your presence. Now, backlog story, because I've only recently been talking to another member of the Russell stable, hence why I'm doing some work with Karting New South Wales throughout the course of the year. So I'm very familiar with the Russells. In fact, my very first experience of the commentary box at Oran Park came courtesy of Wayne Russell. So there's the link, there's the tie in there. Mate, welcome to Monday Night Motorsport. It's amazing. I've been doing this thing for 5 years. I'm still bumping into people that I know.
I've never met you before in my life.
Talk to me about Oran Park, please. What do you make of the night, please?
Yeah, it was good. I literally jumped on. I didn't even get a lap in qualifying, so I jumped on, just did the race, and thought I would risk it for the biscuit with the fuel, and only just got pipped there with Ash by the end. So pretty unlucky there, I think. I should have saved some more.
Yeah, don't feel too bad, because the two leaders in the Super2 split got done on the last lap as well. They had to pit in and take a little bit of juice. So, it is what it is. That being said, well worth running the risk, because if it had paid off, the W in the column. Chris Noble was the tie-in for you as well, I understand. So talk to me, because I know that you're doing a fair bit of racing both sides of the world at the moment. You've been overseas, you're doing some stuff here. Talk to me about sim racing and how long you've been involved in that, and what it entails, and what categories and what cars you jump behind the wheel of.
I've been sim racing for quite a while, probably 10 years in total, I reckon now. So quite a bit, but not hardcore, just on and off, and probably doing a little bit more recently over the past couple of years with some of the fellas that were like Ash and Noble and Stridey before. But bit of a range of cars. I don't like to just get stuck with one car. I like to drive them all. It's a good platform, good to learn new tracks. With the racing we did last year in America, got to learn the track of Circuit America in the GT4 car we actually drove. So, it was good just to get the track all well known, and it does correlate a little bit with real life racing and stuff like that. So, good platform to kickstart off, and you get to race people all around the world in here. Exactly.
Because I was going to say, the last I somewhat liaised with you blokes was when I saw you fresh off the podium at Bathurst in the 6 hour last year, and well done on that, which brings me to the next point. I saw the Proddy car on the market. Any takers?
Not currently. Not that I'm aware of. I'm kind of not involved with that, to be honest. That's the big brother's responsibility.
No, he's got a lot on his shoulders at the moment.
No way. Nah, I'm not going to say that. No, it's a bit more his responsibility. So at this stage, no, I think we still have it, but we still wouldn't do the 6 hour at this stage. Just trying to focus a little bit more on overseas stuff.
Yep, and again, as you say, ever more increasing evidence to suggest why what we do here with the sim racing platform has become so important in both curing insanity during COVID, but also with regards to real world preparation, as you heard there Aaron saying about being able to learn CODA before he headed over there. Looking forward to catch up with you throughout the course of the season, mates, and hopefully see you in here a little bit more often. and of course following your progress as well. And I'll give him a free plug. Anyone that happens to be looking for some adrenaline pumping fun, may as well go and check out the Go Karts Go facilities in both Broadmeadow and Kersley. It's just the two, isn't it?
Oh, we got 3. We got one at Nelson Bay as well.
Nelson Bay as well. I knew I was missing one, but I knew about Broadmeadow because I'd been there before, and I knew about Kersley because it's still on my to-do list. Good on you, mate. Great to catch up. That was a nice surprise seeing you in here tonight, and I'm looking forward to seeing Drew at a couple of the Karting New South Wales events throughout the course of the year, and give Mr. Russell my regards as well.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Thanks, everyone. Good race. Have a good night.
There he is, Aaron Russell. Great stuff. Nova Castrian, royalty there, the Russell family. Everyone talks about the Johns family. The Russells are right up there as far as motorsport's concerned. Let's press on here. Starkey, good evening to you. Talk me through how we ended up being in 18th at the end there. We saw the replay of the incident. What happened?
I don't know. I just think it's really hot here, and I was on the road for 4 hours today, so I was just a bit tired. Like, I didn't qualify well, but I got a great start. Me and Leith jumped about 5 cars on the start. I don't know how. It was like, oh, how did we wind up here?
Rocket boosters on, mate.
Oh, no. Did you see that? Nick just blew past you. And
I was taking it easy, and I saw your comments and I said, go for it, mate.
Yeah, I thought you might have. I saw you pull to the right and then pull back, and I thought, oh, God, thank God he saw me, because I just got a blinder. And if you watch it on the replay, it almost looks like I jumped the start. But then the car was good, then the set went off, and I made a mistake, and poor Leith went off the track trying to avoid me, and I think he took out Proctor at the time. And then the set just got worse and worse and worse, and yeah, then I just lost it, and I think I was just frustrated, so I thought, well, rather than wreck anyone else, I'll just exit out for now, make this a drop round.
Fair enough. Unfortunate though, all things considered, mate, that had to be the case. But that is the rough and tumble of what we do. And Oran Park, not the easiest track to master either.
Yeah, not in 45 degrees, although I was just watching the replay, and while you were talking, I only just heard my name, so I just jumped back in. But Jaden took it to Greg, unless Greg was sandbagging, but it's the first time I've seen anyone take it to Greg. Greg botched the start, not for the first time. We're going to get his views on that in just a moment, and then did the usual trick of being able to pressure the youngster into an error and then accelerate away. Although to go back to what Aaron Russell was saying about saving fuel there at the end, there would have been a few of the boys sweating on some of these blokes being able to pull it off. And I imagine a big sigh of relief on lap 22 when they pulled into pit lane. In saying that, Starkey, next stop on the schedule, will we see you on the grid or what's going on? You think I know what it is, wouldn't you? What is it?
It was on the screen a few moments ago. Laguna.
Oh, yep.
Must
yeah, I've got a couple of good sets for there, and I know Brooksy and a couple of boys have been practicing there. I like Laguna Seca. I'm not a big fan of Oran Park, but I knew it would draw some people, and it did. I don't know what Super 3 was like, but this one drew more cars than we've had for the whole season, but I didn't expect it to be 44 degrees, even though I set the servers up. You expect me to know a little bit more, but well done to the boys that won. Congratulations. Sorry if I took anyone out. I don't think I did. I just touched Dave Christensen, but it cost me more than it cost him.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, mate. Nice to catch up. Unlucky, but hopefully onwards and upwards to Laguna.
Thanks, Zach. Well done, boys.
All right, pressing on here because we've got about 12 minutes before cars will be on the grid at Road Atlanta. We'll go to Greg Favell and Jaden Green now, actually. Jaden, well done, third place. And Stephen Vargas here as well. He picked up second, and Greg home for the win. Chris was right. You set the pace early, mate, but Greg was able to reel you in.
Yeah, I had a blinder of a start when Greg ended up, I think he spun the wheels off the line. Yeah, took off from everyone at the start, which was good. But 44-degree track just caught me off guard. I think it caught a lot of people off guard. It went up 20 degrees from quali to the race.
Yeah, okay, that might explain the drop in race lap times as well. We were a little bit surprised by that, but now we know why.
Can I explain that, Zach? So the
yes, go for it, Starkey.
The quali is the day before, like in the afternoon, so it's generally cooler, whereas the race the next day is sort of mid-morning, is it, Adam? So midday, where it's probably the hottest.
Yeah, it's a 3 o'clock start server.
The quality the same day. So quality's in the morning and then race in the afternoon.
Yep.
Yeah,
So cooler in the
that's
morning,
fine.
hotter in the afternoon. Yeah. Yeah.
More
yeah,
realistic.
Copy that.
Yeah, but it's
absolutely.
usually mid to late afternoon, so it shouldn't be too bad. But the iRacing doesn't know what temperatures
Yeah.
really are like in Australia. They just go, oh, Australia equals hot.
True, and more so in February as well. No doubt about that. At least I had the right race day this time around too. Now let's press on here with Jaden, mate. Third, is that a fair result, a fair reflection of your performance?
I don't think so. I screwed up the pit. My auto pit didn't work, so I put in 16 litres of fuel and changed the tyres. But after the pit, the car had heaps of pace, and I was reeling the guys in front in. I think it was Alex caught right up onto his bumper, and he underfueled it, so he had to pit on the last lap. So I just jagged podium.
Yep, and obviously Stephen was able to get up throughout the course of the race and top of you as well. So, but still, a podium finish is a podium finish, and you got to take them when you can get them. How do you build on that confidence boosting performance when we go to Laguna next week?
Push on. I've done some practice laps at Laguna. Got a nice set for there. I'm confident, but I don't want to go in there with too much confidence. Well, watch me get smoked. So it's good to get the Permobil Falcon up onto the podium for the boys. Get some good coverage for them as well. So it was a good race overall.
I was going to say the whole team got a few good bits of promotion tonight. The sponsors got some airtime, no doubt about that. Unfortunately, not all of it was for the right reasons. Thankfully, yours was. In saying that, though, what's the trick to keeping someone like Greg Favell at bay and being able to go on with the start?
I don't know if there's a trick. I was just head down and push as hard as I could, but then blasted the tyres off it like they did in Chicago last season.
As you do. All right, mate. Very nicely done. Well done on third place tonight, and good luck next week.
Yeah, cheers, boys.
Very nice performance from young Jaden to be the first forward home and snag the last spot on the podium. Stephen Varga, very nice to see you on the podium for the first time in a while as well.
Yeah, thanks. I missed out on a few races. Did last week, and it was a bit of a shocker. Forgot to put the fuel in. I think I sped in pit, so I did something stupid, and so that was my first race back. And tonight was just, good race. It's fun.
Indeed. Thoughts on Oran Park? It's an old spiritual favourite. It's a classic. It's iconic. We know it. It's not maybe as legendary as Bathurst, but at least Bathurst lives on in the real world. Our memories of Oran Park are now just that. But it's always nice that we can go and play on it in the virtual world from time to time.
Yeah, no, it's a great circuit too. We can't go on there in real life anymore. No, it's always good to come to.
Well, you can still go there, but unfortunately, it's just surrounded by houses and speed limits. That's the problem with Oran Park these days. The suburb, not the racetrack anymore. What are we going to see on a more regular basis now throughout the rest of the season?
Yep, you will. Hopefully, I can do another performance like tonight. Go on better, it'd be nice. But my practice happens pretty much on the day of the race, and try to keep it low expectations. And if anything happens, it does. It's good. If it doesn't, well, I didn't practice, so that's my reason.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's got a reason, and that one's legitimate. As far as Laguna's concerned, how do you feel about that? And I mean, how do you prepare for that one? Because it's a distinctly different circuit to Oran Park, and a couple of more legitimate overtaking opportunities than this one.
Yeah, it's not my favourite, but I don't hate it. It's not as good as something like Phillip Island, but no, I'll be there and I'll see what I can do.
All right, mate. Very nicely done.
Yes.
5 positions gained, nothing to turn the nose up at, considering that Greg was 8 seconds up the road. That's actually, and you brought a little bit of luck there towards the end, because young Alex Court was having a good run, but had to pit and top up for 1 lap of fuel. His misfortune was very much to your benefit.
It was indeed. I just thought I'd pit early and try and get the undercut on tyres and see what I had left to hold on to.
And I was going to say, whoever it was in here earlier that was talking about taking a little bit too much fuel, not necessarily a bad thing when most of us were planning on a 22-lap race and it ended up going 23. Stephen, well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Greg Favell, second last off the starting mount here, because we've got Nick Fodiata standing by as well. let's say congratulations on the W. I want to start with two things. Firstly, what is it with you and getting these things off the line? It's a love-hate relationship at the moment, and it made you work really hard for this one tonight. And secondly, you must have been breathing a sigh of relief when Blake and Sean and a couple of others left their run late, hoping that they could get home on fuel, but had to peel in anyway.
Yeah, well, firstly, the starts. I don't use any assists, so I can't do it the way I think most guys are doing it, which I still feel the cheap way. Foot on the brake, foot on the accelerator, and off the brake you go. So I've really got to work on trying to nail that, because I don't like to use the assists. Yeah, them two guys at the end, I'm like, are they fuel saving? Surely not. Surely they can't save that much. And yeah. Then apologies to Alex Court too for the contact. End up getting a 5-second penalty for it. So.
Okay, so you win by 8 seconds, but that is pegged back to 3. But still, good to have that leverage to play with. We did notice the contact, little bit of hip and shoulder, but sometimes that's just natural. Oran Park 101 sort of thing, isn't it? You have to be forceful with your overtaking opportunities around here because they are few and far between.
There isn't really any overtaking opportunities, and I was watching Jaden drive away, and I'm like, I'm going to have to get this done soon, and yeah, I seen an opportunity. I was hoping I could get it turned in a little bit more, so I was only just missed it, but yeah, apologies to Alex.
And I did notice as well that that Jaden got a little bit loose. As soon as you started to put the pressure on him, the rear end just dropped out from under him, and that was where you were able to get him over at turn 3 there.
Yeah, I find a lot of guys start looking in their mirrors, so if you can put your car in both their side mirrors, or that's all they can see, then trying to force a mistake, especially around tracks like this where, like I said, the opportunities aren't really there for the overtaken, so a lot of the time you've got to rely on a mistake. So yeah, just get in behind and hope for the best.
Indeed. It was very nicely done from you, as per usual. Fought back, as you say, not the cleanest race ever, but that happens from time to time. And the word, we were sitting here talking earlier about versatile performers and those that just hone their craft and their art on one category. And you are certainly the master of this one, mate. Master of the craft of supercar racing in these servers at the moment. Laguna's the next stop. Your initial thoughts?
I haven't done any laps there yet, so I'm looking forward to getting around there in this car. I think it'll be a bit easier than the current supercar, so yeah, I'll have to get in on the weekend. I'm not too busy, and there we go.
Very nicely done. Well done again on the W. I feel as though that conversation is just a case of wash, rinse and repeat, because we often see you in victory lane. But at the end of the day, there have been a couple of occasions in which you've been tested this season, and you've still managed to find your way onto at least the podium, if not the top step of it. So well done on that, and we'll see you next week.
All right, thanks, guys.
Running out of time here because we've got GT3 standing by. Let's go to our good mate Nick Fodiatis in the meantime. Nick, well done. Most positions gained, up 6. One of those by default via Michael Hammond's withdrawal. But in saying that, you got to be in it to win it, and you certainly did. That was a really nice drive, mates. Just outside the top 10, but at least a positive run, a smooth run. It looked uneventful.
No, it wasn't uneventful. Thank you, though, Zach. The Bailey Ladder's car was actually quite stable, and I always practice in hot conditions. So I didn't even know it was hot conditions. I just saw people slip sliding away, so I just got to keep the car straight and keep going forward.
Indeed. And obviously you and David Christensen a little bit slow off the line tonight, but in the end, you were able to move forward. And the Bailey Ladders squad looking okay at the moment. Obviously, not ideal for Mikey having to miss this one, but you've ticked this box, and now you can press on.
Oh, look, in terms of the start, I win traffic light Grand Prix every morning, so I didn't really need to win that one, especially from, 17th out of 20. And I saw Chris Stark had rocket boosters on, so I was like, let him go, see what happens. And I was half expecting turn 2 to be carnage, turn 3 to be carnage, across the bridge to be carnage, through the dogleg to be carnage, and into the last corner carnage, but absolutely none whatsoever. So I was like, oh, all right, better get my head down and start pushing now.
Indeed.
So, no, I was just going to say a big thank you to Mikey Hammond, because he came in and did some laps. He's still a bit sore after his bike accident, so he stuck around and he called the pit stops for myself and Dave, and got us to undercut the guys in front. And it was such a big chunk that I made up a couple spots, missed all the guys coming out of the pits, and I was up in 13th or something. And then 2 people had to stop on the last lap, so 11th it was.
And that's the thing. I mean, you pride yourself on your consistency. That top 10's not too far away now.
Oh, look, Oran Park, I've done a lot of laps around and a lot of different things, and even dating back to a laser scan version back in R Factor and Volvos, Mustangs, and Sierras. But look, Oran Park, fantastic place. I love the way it flows. It's one of those ones. If you're fast in somewhere, you just got to stay on them, and eventually they'll fall off the road if they're looking in their rearview mirror, which happened a couple times tonight. So the place is brilliant. I wish it still existed. I've probably one of the tracks I've done the most laps around.
And quick one before I let you go, because obviously we've done Laguna to death and we've done Oran Park to death. What are your thoughts on? Actually, I want to get your thoughts on how Super Formula is going on a Friday night, if you don't mind.
Well, look, we went from a 2-race format to a 3-race format, and I think that's worked out a lot better. We were at Barcelona on Friday, and that proved to be very eventful. Oh, we're cutting through to the GT3s now, so we're getting the hurry up. I can't remember who won the first race. I won the second race, and Adam won the third race. So it was all quite eventful. Lots of fun. My only faux pas for myself was I spun in the final race, and I was just trying to rejoin, and I didn't realize there was somebody there, and ended up being the last car on the lead lap, but I still finished the race. So all in all, it's been good fun. The cars are ridiculously hard to drive. That's why it's gone to 3 races.
Yep, very nicely done. Zuno reckons that means he has a chance of winning one now, or at least finishing one.
Well, he started at the very front, but it's all about how you finish, right?
Exactly. You're right about us getting the wind up, mate. So I'm going to leave you on this. Good luck with GT4 on Wednesday night. We might get a chance to chat to you about that in the weeks ahead, and obviously the Super Formula as well. Thanks, mate.
No worries. Thank you.
And Trucker Joe is still here as well, but unfortunately I've got the wind up, mate. So I'm not even going to have a chance to have a chat to you off air.
That's all good. My internet actually dropped out before, so have a good call, guys, and we'll. If you're back on Thursday night, mate. Sorry, guys. If you're back Thursday night, we'll have a chat there.
I certainly am. First time in a couple of weeks due to unfortunate commitments beyond my control. But yes, back on a Thursday night. Looking forward to it. Go well, mate.
Great stuff. Thanks, mate.
That's if I survive Wednesday at Wet and Wild with my 8-year-old niece. Let's have a look at what's coming your way. There is the lay of the land as far as Road Atlanta is concerned. 4.06 kilometres, 23 degrees the ambient temperature, and the track temperature. Sorry, 21 the ambient and 23 on track. 9:43 in the morning, 3 kilometre an hour wind, 61% humidity. We are set to go with qualifying about to wrap up. This is the full course. It is Braselton in Atlanta, Georgia, and it is, of course, the home of Petite Le Mans, held every October. Matt Dench, the championship leader at the moment. Oh, tickle me surprised. 167 points, 42 clear of Ash Collins, 9 back to John Merritt. Then Tom Bidgood on 115, 109 for Richard Mitchum, Jonathan Hooper. Chook Von Wong's on 103, 98 for Jared Knight, Greg Heaney 90, and Chu Kang on 87 points make up the top 10 at the moment. That top 10 littered with BMWs, but there's a couple of Ferraris holding up the fight. So too a Mercedes, a Porsche, and an Audi. So a good eclectic mix of cars right here and now. Tonight's grid no exception, except for the fact that we've got BMWs 1, 2, and 3. Matty Dench, Aidan Luthwaite, and Jared Knight, the top 3 on the grid. Fred Kahn from the outside of the 4th row. What the hell's going on here, please, Adam Lavis? We've got something on the screen there. I don't know what that is. I have no idea. We're ready to rock and roll anyway. I might just keep running through the grid, and you can have a look at that scary figure on the screen. If I'm getting the same feed that everybody else at home is getting, yes, I don't know what the hell that is. Jared Knight, Fred Kahn the second row, Thomas Martin, Riley Jones the third row, Nick Wood, Paul Rogers the fourth, David Baz and Jonathan Hooper the fifth, then Thomas Foster, Michael Schroeder, there it is, I can hear it now. Gary Cousins and Chris Morgan the seventh row, Jackson Dial and Zach Christie the eighth row, Dayton Snatton and Michael Edwards the ninth, Darryl Sharp, Rishab Banner G, and then Daniel Correa Sar from 21st alongside Paul Wood the 11th row, Greg Brooks and Sean Benici the 12th row, David Christensen, Tim Feud, Stephen Gallacher, Greg Heaney, Braden O'Loughlin, Jermaine Takaloo, Adam Hain, Trent Allen, Alex Court, Ryan Mulder, full field, 34 cars tonight, ladies and gentlemen. You bloody beauty. We are set to rock and roll at Road Atlanta. Can we just have a look at the track temperature and forecast again there, please, Adam Lavis? Just let everybody know that it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, clock moving twice as fast as it would in the real world, 23 degrees the ambient, 29 on track, and we are set for a 1 hour race here, our second 60-minute race of the season. Go, mate.
Yeah, that's me Halloween jump scare thing. I forgot what the shortcut key was. I must have bumped it.
I was going to say, yeah, Halloween's October. I was going to say it definitely wasn't Valentine's Day.
Like I said, it's a hotkey thing, so it's not something I can just turn off using the little button. So I don't remember what it was.
All good. All right, let's go. With that unexpected interruption, ladies and gentlemen, we're ready to rock and roll. Round 4 of the championship. Only the 30 starters here. Alex Corden on starter. So too Jermaine Takaloo, Adam Hain, and Ryan Mulder. We're ready to rock and roll. From Road Atlanta, I should say. Monday Night Motorsport, leg 2 of the doubleheader. Waste Options, GT3, Dench and Luthwaite, bring us to green. Let's go. The only problem I have with Road Atlanta is that they're almost single file by the time they get to the start line because of how early onto the front straight that bloody start-finish line crossover point is. Up the hill for the first time. Let's hope they can scramble through here unimpeded, unharmed. No, Jackson Dial's gone. And he's taken Gary Cousins with him. Adam Haynes on the tow rope, so he's going to join us from pit lane. Join this race a little bit later than scheduled. And we're on lap 1 of an hour's worth of running, folks. So a lot to look forward to here. So we've had the entree. This is now the main course. And this is round 4 of 10. Dench, Luthwaite, Knight, Kahn, Martin, then Wood, Jones, Rogers, Baz, and Hooper the top 10 down the hill for the first time. Little in the way of movement in the top 10 at the moment. Only Nick Wood and Riley Jones have swapped around positions as they head to the chicane. And, I mean, not too much in the way of incident on the opening lap. Relatively unscathed, the field, which is what we'd like to see because we know that first section of the racetrack that we're going through now for the second time is fraught with danger and synonymous with early race incidents and drama and carnage, but thankfully not tonight. Matty Dench, Aidan Luthwaite, good start from him. He was mighty impressive last week too, if memory serves. Oh no, there goes Nick Wood, the Audi in the dirt, and he drops a bunch of spots. Zach Christie's also off the road. So Zach Christie, I don't know exactly where or how it happened, but he's off the road. David Christensen's joined the race a lap down. Adam Haynes joined the still in pit lane, hasn't joined the race yet. Ryan Mulder, Jermaine Takaloo yet to race us with their presence. It looks as though they haven't taken the start. Early movement for Ryan Mulder, Jermaine Takaloo and Alex Court, I should stress. And we make our way down the main straight onto another lap. Lap 3 now. Matty Dench leads. Luthwaite, Knight, then Kahn, Martin, Jones, Rogers, Baz, Hooper, and Foster the top 10. And it's a really good run so far for Matty Dench.
Dench 118.987. We're heading for somewhere in the vicinity of, well, what would that be? 36 laps tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Probably 35 if we're lucky. Depends on how long the pit lane transit is. I get a feeling we probably will get the 36 if they can run consistently in the 18s, because they'll shave a minute off the clock just by being 2 seconds a lap quicker than that 1 minute 20 threshold. But 1 minute 20 a lap is 3 laps every 4 minutes, which gives you... hang on, actually, no. 6.8 to 48, so no, it'll actually be well in excess of 36. Sorry, I was going off 1 minute 40 for a second there. My brain is not computing tonight. So 1 minute 20 gives you 6 laps every 8 minutes, and if you times that by 5, you get 40 minutes. 6 is 48 and 7 is 56, so we're probably actually pushing 44 laps tonight, ladies and gentlemen. There you go. A replay of the incidents off the start. That was what happened to Gary Cousins. Car crunched. So early stages, Matt Dench setting the pace, 1 minute 18.677. This was the contact. And unfortunately, when everybody choked up and backed up, there was nowhere for that car to go. Adam Haynes still on pit road. David Christensen, he was showing down in about 30th position, but now that's been corrected through a timing glitch.
I think he must have an internet dropout, I think.
Yep, and he's now showing in 21st place. And this is what happened. Is that Christie? Is it a short while ago? No, we're going to David Baz. Still haven't seen what happened to Christie. We'll get on to that. Chris Morgan for the contact on Gary Cousins on lap 1. He is going to cop a drive-through penalty. This is what happened to Christie. Caught the curb. And then that little bobble over the curb is what's unsettled him.
One of the most common incidents at Red Atlanta.
Yep. Indeed it is. David Baz 8th place at the moment, and he's following Paul Rogers. So the next talking point of interest, BMWs 1, 2 and 3, Porsches 4 and 6, Ferraris 5, 7 and 8, BMWs 9 and 10. So 5 Bimmers, 3 Ferraris, 2 Porsches in the top 10 at the moment. There are 2 Audis just outside. There's a Lambo in 21st, that is Sean Benici. And we've got a Mercedes out there as well, but it's right down the back of the field. It hasn't actually joined the race yet. That is Adam Hayne. That's 6 of the 8 manufacturers represented in the server in some way, shape or form. No McLaren, no Ford on this Monday night. So that's standard procedure for the season thus far, it's fair to say. 118.467. Matty Dench leading from the front, controlling this race beautifully. Luthwaite and Knight going along for the ride, but they know that Dench is just playing with them at the moment. They won't want to take the lead because Dench will voluntarily slot in behind and let them do the heavy lifting. At least if they're grabbing the toe from Dench, they have a chance to save almost as much fuel as Dench will. And Dench can do it without getting the toe. We've seen it before. So if Dench can get the run here, it'll be interesting to see how much fuel he will save throughout the course of the run and whether he can go a lap longer than everybody else. And then at what point does he decide, well, bugger it, I'll wind up the wick and go in pursuit of purple sectors? Because that's how this caper usually plays out. It's nothing if not predictable after all these years. Back straight, 7 3/4 minutes gone. The end of lap 6 is upon us. So Dench, Luthwaite, Knight. It's a long main straight here, but the start line is right the
the exit of the final corner, the kink there that brings them back onto the main straight. And so it's a longish pit lane, and pit stops will vary between somewhere around the 11-12 second marker for the slash and dash closer to the end of the race, and about a full-blown 20-second stationary time in that first round of stops. Or there'll be some variance with there'll be a couple of blokes that'll split it down the middle and do a 16-second stop now and a 16-second stop later. Or there'll be those that do the short stop early in the hope of doing the long run home. And as we've seen before, it doesn't hurt to mix up the strategy gameplay here. Dench, Luthwaite, Knight, then Martin, Kahn, Jones and Rogers, the top 7 at the moment. Baz, Hooper and Foster, the top 10. Michael Schroeder sitting 11th. Big movers so far include Daniel Correa-Sarr, our good colleague and friend from Thursday Night Motorsport, up 6 spots. 5 spots for Paul Wood, 5 spots for David Christensen as well.
So
9 spots for Trent Allen's the top of the crop, though. The leaderboard, as far as overtaking's concerned and most positions gained, he's gained 9 spots thus far.
And to add on to previous points of so when you're talking about Mountain Men and also Daniel Sarr, he's currently leading the Mountain Men series, and he is trying to claim that it's just because of participation. But his average finishing is currently second, so I think he's finished at least second at least twice, maybe 3 times. He's either got 3 seconds or 2 seconds in the third, so he can't really claim just participation if he's getting podiums every week.
Indeed. No, very well done. Participation does help, but we know a few of these blokes sell their performances short. There's no doubt about that. He wouldn't be the first one to do it. Down the back straight. Dench, Luthwaite, Knight, Martin, Kahn, then Jones, Rogers, Baz, Foster, Hooper, the top 10. And we've got our eyes on Foster. Hooper's all over him like a cheap suit as they make their way down towards the dog leg. Foster opted to go wide into the corner for the tight run out to cover off any potential overtaking manoeuvre that Hooper might have been trying to execute. Here we go. Another lap in the books. Dench, Luthwaite, then Knight, Martin, Kahn, Jones, Rogers and Baz. Dench is broken clear now. That's important to note. Dench is now broken 2 seconds clear at Luthwaite, who still has Knight for company. Thomas Martin and Fred Kahn still arguing over the same piece of real estate. And then back to Jones and Rogers. And off goes Schroeder. Michael Schroeder's off the road. He's put it off the road. Trademark Road Atlanta 101. Bobbled across the ripple strip. Watch this.
No, entry.
Oh, no. Entry into the corner. The rear
so
end
it
went
means
on him.
he's kept off the wall.
Into the corner.
That's probably a better way to go about it because he's kept off the wall, no
Yeah.
damage, and he can just recover from this.
9 times out of 10, as you saw earlier, they'll run too wide, they'll ride that ripple strip, they'll get that awkward bump after the ripple strip and just get sent hard left into the wall.
This is back live with 3 wide.
Oh dear. This one then. Well, oh geez. Very nicely done from Schroeder. Having rejoined in 21st place. Trying to find his way by Allen, and he's trying to cover off Greg Heaney as well. And Tim Fuge isn't too far away. 4-car fight. Lap 10.
I was going to say before Schroeder interrupted us with his little spin there. Interestingly, we had Luthwaite and Kahn last week making their debut in the AM split and having their really good results. Straight away, Greg Heaney's got the checkboard out and signed him to the Whiskey Business team. So just a one and done race, and they've already got themselves a new team.
Beautiful. That's what I'd like to see. And that actually, I don't mind that sort of opportunistic teamwork from those that are on the recruiting trail, because you're always got to keep your eye out for, the solid performers, the consistent performers, and see if you can't recruit them and make room for them in your stable.
So I misspoke. Not Fred Kahn. Fred Kahn was already in the team. Jackson Dial. He was the other one.
Yep. And that's the difference, because the more strings in your bow, in your armory, in your arsenal, the better off you are, especially when it looks to things like teams championships and endurance races and trying to recruit drivers to line up and go around with you for 12 hours, 8 hours, 6 hours, whatever the case may be. So, I mean, that's been one of the things that we have explored on a regular basis, isn't it, Adam, throughout the course of time? The amount of teams, and hello to our friends at Summit Sim Sports. I saw a post from them over the weekend suggesting they were getting the band back together for an event coming up. There are so many drivers out there, happy to go about their business and race on their own, but then in saying that, if the olive branch is extended to them and they're offered the option of joining a team, all credit to them, they often go and do it. And there are so many teams that have grown based on, those that are watching on, liking what they're seeing from drivers that aren't yet assigned to a team. That's been one of the more interesting aspects of the club. And we have got some enormous teams here. Like, I mean, you could almost feel it a footy squad, a footy team with some of the teams that we've got in the club. Down the outside, the Arl in 27th, covering off Stephen Gallacher and Chris Morgan. Zach Christie's been on to pit road at the end of lap 2 for 5.1 seconds and is now running stone motherless last. Adam Hayne is parked up for the night, out of business, done. Ryan Mulder, Jermaine Takalu, Alex Court didn't take the start. Dench leads, it's 2.3 seconds. We're 15 minutes in. We're on lap 12. So again, I stress that we're not going to get to 48 laps tonight, but yes, 44, 45, somewhere in that vicinity is about the trajectory of where we're headed. If we're going to complete 11 laps every 15 minutes or so. Not to forget to include the time for pit lane transit for the 2 pit stops as well. So we'll get a better idea as we head closer to the end as to how many laps we'll be clocking around here tonight. Down the inside, Paul Wood. Makes it stick. Well done. Oh, Banerjee wants to force the issue on the exit of the corner, though. How many times have you seen this? Wood will try and sweep around the outside. No, Banerjee's got him covered off. Banerjee will hold on to 15th for the moment. Keeps Paul Wood at bay. Good exit off turn 12 for Banerjee. Dench, Lutzwaite, Knight, 1, 2 and 3, Martin 4, Kahn, Jones, Rogers, Baz, Foster, and then Hooper the top 10. This is Monday Night Motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, and didn't actually get to mention the people that make it possible for us to do what we do here, the people that get around our broadcast off the top tonight. We're a little bit tight for time, and we're a little bit tight for time again when we got going for race 2. Big thanks to, as we have a look at Paul Wood finally trying to get by Banerjee. This time lets Wood go. Very nicely done. Paul Wood consolidates. That's been a battle that raged for the better part of a lap before Wood was able to consolidate. Oh, Banerjee's thrown it down the road. He did well to gather it up. He had 4 wheels on the grass on the wrong side of the white line. Did well not to end up a lot further off the track, or better yet in a wall as a result of that. No, big thanks to Waste Options and also Sprayton Siders, Player One Sim Gear, Lobesy Racing, and Wave Australia and Flash Graphics for their continual ongoing support of the platforms of the Gentleman's Sim Racing Club. Dench Luthwaite Knight, Martin, Kahn, Jones, Rogers, Baz, Foster, and Hooper, the top 10 here. Monday Night Motorsport from Road Atlanta. Plenty more where that came from, of course, for you when we get to Thursday Night Motorsport, folks. And the return of yours truly into the commentary box for Formula V. That's from the Red Bull Ring. That will be an absolute bloody beauty. And the Porsches from Ride America over 60 minutes will also be well worth the price of admission and well worth tuning in for. So a good double header coming up. Horsepower heaven on Thursday night.
I got to send you a photo later on when I make it, but I'm pretty sure we've had our closest finish of the season.
Excellent.
Race 1 in the Vs last week. Dan had the photo finish camera out, and they still couldn't actually spot the difference.
Okay. I like it. That sets the tone for what's to come when we get to the Red Bull Ring. That circuit is known for close finishes.
Poor old. I think it was Proctor. He came second in all 3 races, and after the second race, his margin to winning a race combined from race 1 and 2 was less than a tenth.
That's just the way I like it. You're getting me excited for Thursday night already. I can't wait. I should explain, as most of you who have been tuning in regularly will know, the Queensland Motorsport Community Farewell won at the time last Thursday, and Cameron Bartholomew, the 28-year-old 2016 Hyundai XL circuit racing champion, passed away unexpectedly, far too young, and we all ventured up to Redcliffe to say farewell to him. I held hope of being able to get home for the Porsche aspect of Thursday Night Motorsport, but when I realised how big the turnout was for both the funeral and the wake afterwards, I quickly realised that just wasn't going to bloody well happen. So back in the booth this Thursday night and looking forward to it. And hopefully by Thursday I'll have some more news with regards to some real-world sporting commitments this year as well. This is Chris Morgan.
He's coming out of the pits and just going straight in.
And he's got my favourite livery of the night so far.
And he's pulled over and retired.
Well, that's unfortunate. Disappointed by that, actually, that Morgan's parked up. Because that's the best looking car on the racetrack. I'm not biased at all. That's a great looking race car. Yellow and black. The yellow's distinct, but at least if he parks it up, at least it still looks good on the showroom floor, let's be honest. Past 1/3 race distance now.
Coming up to the pit window.
Indeed we are. It's rather tame at the moment, isn't it? There's not much in the way of action to report about or to get excited about out there. Let's have a look at what happened to Zach Christie, second time unlucky. Oh, jeez. Oh, no.
Come on, hold on to it, though.
That wasn't a bad save, all things considered, but he's gifted the car in front of him a position. And that's something you can't afford to do too regularly around here. David Christensen kept it off the wall. That loses a chunk of time. Cooper in 10th place at the moment. Foster is 9th. Baz just ahead of them. So too Rogers. Kahn's all over the back of Jones at the moment. So that's really the closest battle in the top 10. This is the second one. Brett Bradbury's right. Yep. 100%. So it's not going to colours. Yep. The Suez Cup Newcastle Rugby League season will most likely get underway early April. Hopefully, in my travels in and around the countryside this year, I'll get a chance to go and see it go on this game, but I'm not sure. At Luthwaite, Jones, then Rogers, Baz and Hooper are all on pit road. In fact, there's a cavalcade of stars on pit road right now. It's about half and half. Those that are on the lane and those that are still on the racetrack. Zach Christie back on pit lane as well. Second stop for him. So it's going to be a long night for one of the promising young talents coming through the ranks of the GSRC. Top 7 yet to stop. Everyone beyond that all the way down to 21st position is in the lane. Braden O'Loughlin's just skipped ahead of all of those because he's decided to go on for another lap. And he's come out just behind Aidan Luthwaite. In the meantime, solid move there from Trent Allen. Nicely done. Is he running the same? Him and Morgan, teammates?
No, they're totally different.
Totally different. Okay. We might have.
That's more. That's not quite yellow. It's got a little bit of a green to it.
No, yeah. I was going to say we might have a close candidate for second best livery on the racetrack right there. Dench the leader, Knight second, Martin third. They're all on pit road at the end of lap 18. So if I'm basing my calculations on 44 laps for the race tonight, that makes lap. So where are we? Lap 18. So that would make lap 26 the critical number in which you could stop and get home.
Nick Wood's proving you wrong.
Well, Nick Wood's going on, but I mean, of how much benefit will that be to him in the long run? I'll wait and see. Dench out in second place at the moment will inherit the lead again once Wood peels off the pit road. This is the thing.
Jared Knight's jumped to the flag.
He has, and I suspect that might happen. Knight was able to just put the hammer down and go for it. Pulled out a couple of clean laps and got the better of Luthwaite. Again, just learning the tricks of the trade and learning the craft. Knight used Luthwaite to his advantage, saved a little bit of juice, therefore didn't have to take as much on, saved a little bit of time in transit, and off we go. So basing calculations on Matt Dench alone, if it's 44 or 45 laps, 26, 27 your benchmark or your critical lap number in which you should be able to stop and get home. And that therefore means the latest we should see someone like Dench on pit road is the end of lap 36. Nick Wood to pit lane, Matt Dench to the race lead, order restored. Nick Wood looks as though he was the only one to stretch it out to that number, 19. Chris Morgan's parked up for the night, we know that. Rashad Banerjee has come back out onto the racetrack after a 47-second stop, so it looks like he's been done for either speeding in pit lane or something else.
Yeah, pit entry or something like that.
And that's plummeted him down the order 9 places to 29th. Morgan down 16. Christie down 12, still persevering with it. Others would have parked up and given up by now. But 10 points for effort. Most positions gained, Trent Allen. Trent Allen up 15 spots in the opening stint of this race, up into 17th from 32nd. Greg Heaney up 7 spots. Also Paul Wood, Greg Brooks, Daniel Priasar all on that number as well. So they're second best to Trent Allen's 15. It's madness. That is absolute madness, and that's Banerjee.
Guessing he would have got done for speeding, I guess.
Speeding. And that is a long, cruel stop and hold for a couple of kilometres an hour, isn't it?
Well, I didn't look at anything unusual there, so that's the only thing I can put it down to. Schroeder's attacking.
Schroeder down the outside. Trying to go the outside through the left-hander to be on the inside for the right-hander, and he's got it done before the left-hander. Very nicely done. The car in 19th, which is, of course, Sean Benici, was happy to just let him go. So Audi against Lambo at the moment.
So Benici's got promoted this week, so he's just finding his footing in the pro split. Just getting to know the drivers around him, because obviously being in the M split, he was racing a couple of other guys. A couple of guys have moved up with him, so if you can find them on track, he'll probably be comfortable. At the moment, just going to feel out the new competition and see who he can race with.
Indeed. So Dench, Knight, Luthwaite, Martin, Jones, Rogers, Baz, Khan, and Foster the top 9. Hooper is 10th. Fred Kahn's dropped 4 spots in the opening stint. Sits there in 8th. We're riding with Daniel Correa-Sarr under pressure. Under fire from Paul Wood. Down the outside. That's very nicely done. Correa-Sarr and Wood. Oh, Correa-Sarr went deep. He went very deep and he made the move work in his favour. And now Wood has all the work to do once more. And they've got Greg Brooks trying to latch onto the back of them and go. So the elbows are out in the middle stint here. Normally, the middle stint can be the tamest of the race. But at the moment, things are lively in the mid-pack. Good to see Dale Sharp up in the pro split as well, Adam. Week 3 was obviously where you had a look at the matrix and had a look at where everybody stacked up, and there's a couple of faces that have been promoted.
Yeah, so usually we have a look around, like week 2, it's more about the people who are clearly made a leap and bound. But normally once we have at least 2 to 3 rounds of data for the season, we start looking at the current season stats to outweigh the average total of their career and try and get them up with the people they're racing more consistently with and have similar pace to. And Dale was...
Woodsy's got the job done. Woodsy got by Correa-Sarr. Sorry to cut in on the top of you there, Adam, but finally Paul Wood made the move stick.
Well, it was funny because Dale was the only one down in the AMP split. He gets his promotion. He's like, oh, guess I was going too fast. Oh, that's not good. And now he's going to the leading Aussie racing car, so he's beaten the other guys. So he definitely was the right move to put him up.
So far, so good.
Oh, who's that?
Uh-oh. He's having a shocker, but in saying that, at least he does the gentlemanly thing there and jumps off the racing line and moves out of the road so as not to impede these oncoming cars that are ahead of him in the motor race. Well, he's only got to get to 75% race distance to be classified as long as he's in the server at the end once the flag is waved. You'll be right. Half race distance has come and gone. We've completed lap 23.
He also needs to get in the top 25 though to get points.
True. Well, the attrition might work in his favour tonight. He's only got to lose another 3 cars. At the moment, we've lost Richard Banerjee. He's parked up. He's done. He's had a gutful after his penalty. Whoa, that was close. Greg Brooks wanted to force it, jam it down the inside of Daniel Correa-Sarr, not to.
One of those annoying ones where you got to run but nothing you can do with it.
Exactly. Zach Christie's still showing as a lap and a half down here. Everybody else on the lead lap for now, but David Christensen's the next one in line to go a lap down the bench.
Well, you see, there's the top 10 is sort of spread out, but from 11th back, you can see on the track map, number 3 coming onto that little short chute down to the double right is Dane Snadden, number 3. And there's a big conga line all the way back to, I believe, Michael Edwards at 20th. So the second 10 is very close. So anyone that makes a mistake, there's positions and points to be gained here.
Yep, indeed there is. Indeed there is. How good. And the more pressure applied, the more likelihood that we will see a mistake from somebody. And then there'll be a few more beneficiaries associated with that. 27.5 minutes to go. We're watching Daniel Correa-Sarr fend off Greg Brooks here. Paul Wood's taken off. He's chasing after Dale Sharp, the teammates. With Sharp being a recruited recently rather, to the Aussie Racers stable. And that's what I talk about. You know, you look at some of these guys, you look at their performances through the course of time. And you're like, we want to associate, we want that driver to be associated with our brand and what we do. So that was good scouting by the Aussie Racers stable over the off-season. Dench the leader. No surprise there. He's 12 seconds to the good, folks. 12 seconds to the good. Wasn't a full fuel first time round. That won't matter. It's only 15 and a half. As I said, a range of, there'll be splash and dashes to get you through to the next window. There'll be those midway point fuels like what Dench has done to split the stints down the middle, and then there'll be the full fuel so that you can go the 25-25 treatment and then come in and get a splash and dash for the run home. Rides the ripple strips. We might go for a lap with Dench shortly if there's not much else happening.
I was going to, but this just popped off.
Let's have a look at the battle for fourth in the meanwhile.
Because Thomas
we'll
just
go
got
for a lap
past.
with Dench later.
Yeah, Thomas just got past Riley into the chicane there, so all of a sudden this little gaggle tightened right up.
Dench, Knight, Luthwaite, Martin, Jones, Rogers, and Baz. We're watching Martin, Jones, and Rogers at the moment. There are battles lining up actually right around the racetrack at the moment, so this is a good time actually to be on comms. If only we had the Channel 7 Mega War, huh? If only. 25 and a half minutes to go. Thomas Martin standing there in fourth place. 2 Porsches and a Ferrari in this battle at the moment. As they come round onto the back straight. Ooh, that was close. That was real close, Riley Jones.
And I have to send Thomas a message too. Looks like he's uploaded the sponsor numbers through Trading Paints, and sometimes when you have a spec layer, it just puts a white layer of your entire car. So we can see the car he's supposed to have is in the graphic, the black and green. You can sort of see the spec map of it, but the number pack has just gone, paint the whole car white.
Yep. Oh dear. Happens to the best of them. Happens to the best of them. Right, main straight. Let's go again. Martin, 4th place. Jones, 5th. Baz in behind these guys fending off Khan, and Foster's further back in 9th, and Hooper is 10th. The Ferrari at the back of that shot is Paul Rogers, the purple and orange car that you see there, running 6th. Dench, 27 laps into this 60-minute affair, which we are suspecting will run about 44 laps, and might go to 45 if Dench can get back to the line quick enough. The times are certainly there to do it. Certainly there. Replay. Paul Wood. This will be him getting by Dale Sharp. Down the inside. Cleanly done. Well done. I always worry that it'll be a car spinning into the gravel trap or the rear end going out on them as they're exiting the corner, as they're hitting the apex. How many times have we seen it? Braden O'Loughlin. Passenger across the grass doing some lawn mowing through turn 1. Dench, Knight, Luthwaite, Martin, then Jones, Rogers, Baz, and Khan. $22 3/4 minutes to go. I hope you're enjoying Monday Night Motorsport. Tamed by Road Atlanta standards. Hopefully it'll spice up in the closing stages here. We've got Nick Wood all over the back of Dane Snadden at the moment. He's got Paul Wood in behind him, and then so too Dale Sharp. So the Aussie racer boys are slowly but surely clawing their way onto this train.
I think Snaddo knows they're coming too. He's just trying to place the car a little bit out of the slipstream, try and break the toe a bit, but the boys don't have none of it.
Trying to outfox them. It's good. It's real good. Have a look at him. Down the back straight, Nick Wood, the Audi. Can he fire it down the inside of the Porsche, move to 11th? No, not yet. Snadden will keep him at bay. 22 minutes to go. Uh-oh, off goes Riley Jones. Off goes Riley Jones. He's lost out of the battle to Paul Rogers now and David Baz and maybe Fred Kahn as well. Riley Jones has run wide at turn 1. He's managed to keep Fred Kahn at bay, but he's lost 2 spots as a result of that drifting work through turn 1, which he did well to actually save. Yeah, he did very well.
That was
to save that in a matter of speaking.
Yeah, but Baz probably took the tighter option there, but that was a bit risky.
Only a bit. Only a bit. So Dench, Knight, then Luthwaite, Martin, Rogers, Baz, Jones, Kahn, Foster, and Hooper, the top 10.
And just behind this battle, Daniel Carrera-Sar's job just got a little harder because Trent Allen has also joined the queue, so he's now in a 3-way battle. So we'll see him come over the hump in the background there.
Martin into pit lane. Martin the first to pull the trigger and pit last. So 20 and a half minutes to go. Uh-oh, Riley Jones now has done it again.
This time's gone bad.
It's gone from bad to worse for Riley Jones. Now he's dropped down to 9th, 10th place, 11th, 12th, 13th.
Got the curb that time.
And Carrera-Sar's off as well.
Oh, that's a bit harsh. A very soft touch of the wall. Oh, no, it's come good.
Daniel Carrera-Sar has dropped down to 15th.
Greg Brooks is
Here
also
it
involved.
is. He is. Let's have a look. It'll be evasive action for Brooks.
No, Brooks has lost it. Daniel's just gone wide.
So separate incidents. Separate isolated incidents. Watch this for Greg Brooks. This will be a wild ride. Uh-oh. See you later. Not sure the grass mows any better if you slide across it like that. 19 and a half minutes to go. Dench the leader, and then Jared Knight, Aidan Luthwaite, then Rogers, Baz, Kahn, Foster, Hooper, Snadden and Wood in the top 10. Riding on board with Dane Snadden. He's got Nick and Paul Wood for company. This is the battle for 9th, 10th, and someone's going to miss out on a top 10 here if everything stays as is. Riley Jones has finally come to pit lane. So there's still... Thomas Martin is pitted. Riley Jones, Greg Brooks are in. Everybody else is filtering their way through, but we've still got a lot of pit activity to come in the next 10 minutes or so. Closing stages, Monday Night Motorsport, Road Atlanta. Just after 9:30 Eastern Daylight Time. Hope you're enjoying it as much as we're enjoying bringing it to you.
Yeah, Dane will be liking this. He's been under pressure, and now all of a sudden Nick's got the unenviable task of trying to attack whilst being attacked, and it's slightly making it a little bit easy for Dane. But here comes Woodsy.
Down the inside. No, not yet. Not yet. Through we go. Round on to the main straight they'll come.
Next
BMW. Nick Wood to pit lane.
Nick's
there we go.
I don't want part of this. I'm going to try and out-strategize you guys.
3 BMWs ahead of 3 Ferraris, 2 BMWs, a Porsche and a BMW make up the top 10 at the moment. Nick Wood and Trent Allen on pit road. Allen up 16, 17 spots prior to that stop. A great drive from him so far. Can he continue that all the way to the flag?
It looks like we can do our lap now with Denchy.
We can. Let's shut up and enjoy the ride with the master at work. very good timing from Adam Lavis to take that lap with Matt Dench while we did, because he's now, Master is now on pit road. Completes lap 33 as the race leader, comes to the lane to fuel to the end. And we suspect it's another 11 laps from here. Actually, what did we say earlier? 3 and 4, which is 6, 9, 12. Oh, actually, it's 16 and a half minutes to go. And 16 minutes is 12 laps, as we say. So I think we are going to go to 45. I think we're going to get to 45, courtesy of the pace at the front from Matt Dench. So there we go. And because the pit lane transit wasn't as terribly long as we might have calculated for as well. And interestingly enough as well, Adam Lavis, even though there's been a lot of talk about tyre wear in recent weeks, the pace hasn't actually dropped out of this racetrack. And therefore the tyres must be holding up well.
You know, it's a fairly, it's probably not really, there's not really a lot of long, fast corners other than a downhill section in turn 1. And more of this, well, I guess there is this bit here as well, not really a speed turn, but there's a lot of straights here which give the tyres a chance to give themselves a bit of a reprieve. So it might not be the biggest tyre burning track, but you still would have to look after it in some spots. Right left here, would probably get easily scrubbed if you lean on it too hard.
Yeah. And the other way to look at what I've been saying here throughout the course of the night is 4 5s are 20 and 3 5s are 15 laps in 20 minutes. So even with the pit lane transit time, we're still going to get that 45 laps. Normally, you allow for an acceptable amount of pit lane transit time and take 1 lap off the counter, but no, not in this instance. It looks like even with overtime, we'll get to that 45 lap marker. So that's really good. And the pace at the front of the field is the main reason for that. And we're not surprised because Matt Dench is driving a beautiful race here. Dale Sharp, 16th, all over the back of Riley Jones. Case of what might have been for Jonesy. Far better run until a couple of laps ago than consecutive incidents on the run through turn 1. Have put pay to his charge. Edwards and Benici on pit road. Now Jared Knight joins them. Jared Knight at the end of lap 35 with what we anticipate will be 10 laps to go. Comes to pit road.
Nick Wood has only taken 9.7 seconds of fuel.
Yeah, wow.
Even Denchi took 13.2.
Wow. Yeah. So Denchi knows maybe Nick Wood's going to sell himself short here and leave himself hamstrung. We'll find out. Dench crossed the line with about 12 minutes and 50 seconds to go. So that confirms that we will have 10 laps from him.
Nick did do an extra lap on the first stint though, and he is one of the good fuel savers at the club. So he may be onto something. And because there's definitely, as you can see, he was fighting with Snadden, and Snadden's about 4.5 seconds back now. Because he was right.
Saying the classic, it's all happening.
He was right in between these two, and now he's up the road. So he's given himself a bit of track position, but has he sold himself short on fuel?
Hopefully, those of you that are NFL supporters enjoyed your Super Bowl today. Super Bowl Monday here in Australia. Super Bowl Sunday over there in the United States. Another magnificent instalment of one of the great spectacles of world sport. Although that being said, the term world champions was used a little bit too loosely during the presentation, I would have thought. We continue to rock and roll here. Obviously I'm not going to give away spoilers for those of you that haven't already caught the game or caught the highlights thereof. There seemed to be a fair bit of commotion around. Is that Christie? Is that 3 strikes and you're out?
I think it's
him?
I think it's unfortunately more than 3 for poor old Zach tonight.
Yeah, he's just headed into pit lane now, and he's been sitting there for about 43 seconds already. So I think that might be the end of his night. And unfortunately for him, with the race going that extra lap, He'd want to hope that he can get back out there and complete another lap just to be classified, but he's not going to get points anyway because he's in 28th at the moment. And you've got to be in the top 25, as Adam Lavis correctly pointed out earlier. Paul Wood, Dane Snadden, swap positions. Wood down the inside. Gets the job done. So Zach Christie remains on pit road. Everyone else circulating, except for Banerjee, Morgan and Hayne, who are parked up very early in the piece. GT3 field's strong and stable at the moment. A really impressive turnout on a Monday night to Road Atlanta, one of our favourite racetracks, to be fair. We love the battles. We love the last lap thrillers we get at this venue. Not sure we're going to get one tonight for the main placings, but certainly for the minors, we're in good stead. We're in good shape. 50 minutes gone, 10 minutes to go. And he just punched out the fastest lap of the race as well, Adam. How often does he do that so late in the piece? 1:18.296, and there might be a 17 at the end if he wants to wind up the whip properly.
Well, that was 2 in a row, so he might call it off before he goes again.
True. True. Khan and Wood 8th and 9th at the moment. We've picked up Greg Brooks down there in 21st, chasing Gary Cousins. Trying to lose Greg Heaney, and he's done that. He's now a second to the good on Heaney. Slipstream that he's getting from the car in front being Gary Cousins, no doubt helping the process there. 21st for Greg Brooks. Trying to break into the top 20. Cousins need only leave the door open an inch. And you'll find Brooks down his inside, I think you'll find.
I think Daniel's made the mistake of taking tyres all 4 in the last stop, because his last stop was 21 seconds compared to everyone else only doing 12s and 13s, and it's cost him a bunch of track position.
Yep, down into 17th. Well, he had an earlier off-track excursion, as you saw, which didn't help matters either.
That was only, I only lost him one. He went wide to the trim up to turn 2, but so that wasn't a massive loss. I think the pit stop still cost him a bit more. It's unfortunate. Let's kick it off. We've got a couple of 2x2s. We've got Thomas and Kahn. And we've got Foster and Hooper. And we've got this guy.
Yep.
It's all starting to pair up for the last 7 minutes of the race.
Paul Wood, Dane Snadden. He's that battle on screen, 11th and 12th. And so Paul Wood's the second biggest mover of the night, up 11. Trent Allen up 17 is the next best. Hopefully 32nd on the grid. And Jonathan Hooper is chasing Nick Wood. Fred Kahn's just got by Thomas Foster. Fred Kahn's jumped up into position number 7. Nick Wood fighting hard with Hooper. And this is how it happened. Kahn getting through with another. Oh, geez, what a save that was. What a save that was from Thomas Foster. Should have been so much worse. And now Brooks. Brooks trying to get down on the inside of Cousins. Thank you very much.
He's just going to throw all that work away.
He loses 2 spots. So he gains 1, drops 2, and the effective result is -1. Jeez, that was a big moment for Nick Wood. It's still going all right, and nearly got a helping hand. Down the outside goes Hooper. Can he get by Wood, or will Wood hold on the inside? No, he lets him go. Wood pulls out of it. Hooper sweeps it round. Hooper jumps up into 9th. Jeez, that's madness. Absolute madness.
Unfortunately, my replay doesn't quite go back far enough to catch that little twitch.
That's okay. That's all good. We'll work on. We'll press on. Lap 41 about to conclude, and Dench will be 4 laps from home. And when that does, we are watching Michael Schroeder in 17th place in the Audi, chasing Daniel Correa-Sar in the BMW. Schroeder, 16th at the moment. Not the closest battle on the racetrack. That belongs to Nick Wood and Jonathan Hooper. Everything ahead of them has fizzled out somewhat as we reach the closing stages. Another lose for Riley Jones. He's now headed down into pit lane, and I think he's parked up for the night.
That's his third strike in turn 1. It's put him 3 times.
Yeah. So that's a DNF for Riley down 21 spots. Whoa, Jared Knight! Jared Knight was running second! Jared Knight in the grass! Now, how did that happen, more to the point? Knight loses a potential podium finish. He's still chasing Thomas Martin. This was trying to get by Luthwaite, I think, was it?
Braden O'Loughlin.
No! It's lap traffic.
He's trying to get past lap traffic. He's just misjudged it. Just clipped the wheel, front wheel to rear wheel on the
oh boy!
the passing attempt.
Unbelievable for Jared Knight. Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. So Luthwaite goes to second. What a great run from him. And then Thomas Martin now onto the podium for Porsche. Can he stay there and finish it off, or will Knight fight his way back in? It's the battle we're watching. It'll be the one we watch for the next 3 laps, I think. It was almost destined, certainly destined to be a BMW trifecta. Not so anymore. Dench, Luthwaite, Martin and Knight. Martin and Knight fighting for the last spot on the podium. And in an almost extraordinary set of circumstances. Astonishing. It's a pinch me moment for Martin. He wouldn't have been able to believe his luck that this has happened for Jared Knight. The battle that shouldn't have been. Martin was cruising to a comfortable 4th, and Knight was cruising to a comfortable 2nd or 3rd, and all of a sudden it's gone, you know what, up for Jared Knight. In the meantime, back to Gary Cousins. Cousins has company in the form of Greg Heaney and Greg Brooks. Main straight, 3 laps to go. 2 laps to go for them, actually, because Dench is 2 laps from home. These guys are a lap down. So let that sink in for a moment, if you don't mind. But Dench has put a lap on. Everyone back down to Gary Cousins. He's put a lap on, 19th back in this field. 2, 4, 6, 7 of those drivers are still running. 2, 4, 5 of them were retirement. That's the pace, that's the class of Matt Dench with a capital C. Now, Greg Heaney in 20th. And Brooks is 21st, Cousins is 19th.
bump drafting there for Brooks.
Absolutely. It didn't work to his advantage, though. Dench is about to start the last lap. White flag in the air, folks. 1 minute to go and 1 lap to go. So we actually got to 45 rather easily in the end. As we head for the checkered flag now. So really, in all of that, the 118s and 119s have shaved enough time off the clock that we're only going to finish about 20 seconds into overtime after 60 minutes and 45 laps of running.
So Nick Wood's just run wide. It's knocked our Audi out of the top 10. So just still trying to get those guys to get them on top of those Audis.
Indeed.
I was about to say Jared's trying to close the gap. He's made a mistake.
Oh, his second mistake. The last one was on the exit of on the approach to the final corner, and that one is out of the first corner. Jared Knight, wow. He can give up on catching Thomas Martin now. I don't think that's going to happen unless Martin makes a mistake. Cousins is still holding on to 19th. Matty Dench, class with the capital C at the front. The Dench mark strikes again. I'd say you're right, Dave Dench, but this will be another purple box sector. Last turn, checkered flag, and another win on a Monday night in Waste Options GT3 for the Dench mark. Once again, he went looking for that purple box, but it was only a 118.5. His best was a 118.296. Well done, Matt Dench. Another commanding win to the tune of 23.5 seconds. Hayden Luthwaite's a name to keep an eye on, a star going forward, ladies and gentlemen. He's got himself second tonight. Gone about his business relatively quietly, but achieved big things. Third for Thomas Martin, fourth for Jared Knight. It's a case of what might have been for Knight. His frustrations continue, not just on a Thursday night in that bloody Porsche, but now in this Bimmer as well. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Paul Rogers fifth, David Baz, Fred Kahn, then Thomas Foster, Jonathan Hooper's going to hold off Paul Wood, Nick Wood. Dane Snadden makes up the top 12. Then Dale Sharp, Trent Allen, and look at this. Daniel Correa under the pump from Michael Schroeder. This is for 15th on the run down to the final 3 corners. Have a look at them. Michael Edwards is in there as well. Schroeder jams it down the inside. Correa drives in around the outside, kicks into third gear a little bit better and holds on. That's very well done. The drive off the final corner, the outside, the high line often works more than the low line in that regard, and it certainly did on that occasion for the BMW. It just kicked into gear a little bit cleaner, a little bit smoother. 16th to Schroeder, 17th to Edwards, then Benici, Cousins, and Heaney, with Greg Brooks coming in 21st position. David Christensen parked up 22nd. 23rd for Braden O'Loughlin. He's about to... he was a lap down. So David Christensen joined the cavalcaded cars a lap down. Cousins was the first of those. And everyone else filters on down. Braden O'Loughlin was 23rd. Tim Fuge, Stephen Gallagher, Jackson Dial, and Riley Jones. Had he parked up and stayed in the pit box rather than parking up and escaping, would have actually finished 27th, but it doesn't matter because he wouldn't have got points anyway. Zach Christie, Richard Banerjee, Chris Morgan, Adam Hayne, and that's it. Jermaine Takalu, Alex Court, Ryan Mulder were non-starters. Well done, indeed. Matty Dench from Aidan Luthwaite and Thomas Martin. Daniel Correa down there in 15th, and that was who the well done was directed in towards. As we get ready to have a chat to a few drivers post-race here. That was not the most lively race we've ever seen around Road Atlanta, but it had its moments. And one thing remains the same is catch me if you can. Matt Dench's message to the rest of the field, and there is no catching him at this point. Something would have to go monumentally wrong, I think, to deny him title number 9, Adam. I mean, he's already nearly a round ahead of the competition, and we're only at the end of round 4.
Indeed, he's putting on another showcase, trying to get his ninth title. Hopefully, it would be very interesting if we can get because there's a lot of rumours that people want to see the Ford Mustang come in soon. So if we do get a new GT3 car, then that'll give Denchi something different to try to get that elusive 10th title next season. Assuming he wins this season as well.
Indeed. No, it was very nicely done. And if it does come in next season, I'll tell you what, that's going to reinvigorate things just nicely here, isn't it? On the platforms of the GSRC. Let's begin the post-race show. We do it with Greg Heaney and Daniel Correa-Sarr. Greg, a mixed tale of fortunes for your mob tonight.
Yeah, very much so. Unfortunate for Zach, he had another off night, and Jackson at the start with them two coming together. Myself, I'm not exactly the quickest at this track, but definitely had some good racing. Shout out to Greg Brooks, who jumped in and did some running around with us and was trying to give me a push on the last handful of laps to try and get past Gary Cousins, but wasn't quite there. But no, like Fred sent me a text today saying I'm not happy with the Porsche. Not happy with the Audi. I'm going to switch over to the Ferrari, so threw a skin together for that when I got home. Did that in about an hour and a half. I think I've recruited pretty well, being that I've picked up Jackson and Aiden Luthwaite as well. I did ask them to jump on over and have a chat, but I don't know if they are or aren't going to. But they're definitely quick, I'll give them that.
Indeed, they are. You're right about Zach Christie. Geez, when he's on, but he's had a couple of off weeks, and that was a real rough night for him. 3 strikes, you're out. He parked up early, but I mean, he'll look to go back to the drawing board from that one and regroup for next week.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I reckon he'll be a bit more happier. Was at Okayama next week? I reckon he'll be happier there. Not so many ups and downs on the track. So.
Yeah. And that's the thing, Greg, for Road Atlanta. I mean, it's a challenging racetrack for all the entertainment it produces. It is a tricky one to set up for.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, he was okay on a medium to heavy fuel load in the Porsche, but the minute it started lightening off, he just said the back end was just not there. As you say, it is a very hard track to set up for. Like I had a setup for the Audi that was good for me, faster for Jackson when we were doing some practice runs. Jackson was unfortunate to get tangled up at the start, but no, I had the Audi working well tonight. I just couldn't quite keep up with the Porsches in a straight line.
Indeed. And as for your own performance, mate, I mean, 20th, and a real good tussle at the end there with Gary Cousins and Greg Brooks. At least they kept you honest. You were somewhat lucky to be able to fend Brooksy off and keep him at bay.
Oh, Brooksy was in our comms with us. So he's like, don't worry about me. I'm here for the fun of it. I'm not actually here for the points tonight. So, yeah, he's just like, I'll give you a push to try and get past him. But, yeah, he was just playing along with us for the night. So.
And he's always welcome to come along and have some fun. That's what it's all about. Good elbows out racing there in many different respects throughout the course of the evening. Okayama, and I think Adam Lavis, is it sprint racing or is it a 60-minute?
No, she's an hour next week.
She's an hour next week as well. So there we go. And then on to 90 minutes at Mount Panorama. Finally back into sprint mode when we get to Magello and Motorland Aragon round 7 and 8, and then the Hockenheimring in round 9 and Spa to finish us off. So Okayama will be a tough slog as well because it's a tight and technical racetrack. You've got that open flowing back straight, but again, overtaking opportunities don't necessarily present themselves freely around there. And then obviously, well, Bathurst is Bathurst. So the next couple of weeks, it's going to be interesting to see how this championship takes shape.
Yes, most definitely. I think it's just going to be a case of trying to catch Matty Dench again, which I think it almost is every week. But I reckon Aiden's going to give him a fair old crack. Aiden was pretty quick with him in practice. Quali came round and he wasn't too far off the pace, but yeah, the pace of Matty's BMW, when he went past me on the pit stop, he just drove away. I'm like, that is ridiculous, going across the top of the hill. So.
Oh yeah, there's a term for it. There's
the benchmark.
Well, benchmark is one thing, but there's a no fear factor associated with some of the overtaking manoeuvres that are pulled off around here with some of these guys. Certainly putting everything on the line and far braver than other drivers. There's no doubt about that. But that's why we love it, and that's why they are the cut above. What's on for the rest of the week, please, mate?
I'll chalk off another one of the officials for this week. We'll see what Ringmeister might throw up this week. I know last week was the P320. The week before that was a Radical. That was always fun. Maybe some other leagues that I've got chalked up, but I might pop in for the GT4s again on Wednesday. I know I had a good tussle with Adam round one, but unfortunately ended up sticking it in the fence. So I'm hoping I didn't make too much of a roadblock for him. But no, I had a good round at Sandown with the GT4 and the McLaren. That was always fun. But,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll see what comes up.
Well, Sandown was supposed to host the real GT4 over the course of the weekend, but because of freight and logistical issues, getting all the cars over to Australia to be prepared for the event, they ran out of time because they had delays in freight and other things, and they said, look, no, we're bailing. So unfortunately there were only 4 categories in the season opener of the Shannon Speed Series, and hopefully we'll see GT4 back at some point in time. There will be a couple of them on the grid at Bathurst this weekend as part of the 12-hour field, I do believe. Greg Heaney, well done, thank you.
No worries.
We'll leave you to it there. Let's go to Paul Wood, because at one point, Woodsy, you had your work cut out for you. You were trying to get past the likes of Daniel Correa-Sarr and Greg Heaney, and eventually you worked your way up through 12 positions, gained second most of anyone on the racetrack tonight. The only one with more than that was, of course, Trent Allen. You got yourself into the top 10. The teal looks good, and you even had to get your elbows out with your teammate Dale Sharp there at some point as well. A really solid run for you tonight.
Yeah, the Bailey BMW suits me much better this week than it did last week. It's far more comfortable to drive, and I was much happier in the car. So yeah, it was a much more enjoyable race, and yeah, some tough battles there. And the guys, it's always very hard to overtake on this track. You've got to get a good run and keep the car off the curbs as best you can to get the drive out. But I was going for a zero incident race, and I managed to spend one. I think just as I was coming onto the back of Nick. Just after halfway through the race, and I was like, after that I kind of started spending them as tokens, because I thought, well, if I can gain a bit of time, get a bit more drive out of the corner. So yeah, so I threw a couple more down the drain, but overall it was a pretty good run, and quite happy with it. But yeah, Dale there, he let me by at the end. We were discussing it there, and he'd been battling behind Nick for a while there, and I just said, you want me to take a run at him? So we swapped positions, and yeah, moved on from there. But overall it was quite fun. But yeah, I would have been happy to have got the biggest mover again, but yeah, unfortunately, I think I missed out on that one tonight, but I tried my hardest.
Indeed. In saying that, a solid run after a rough couple of weeks, and now you're starting to put those solid runs together again, mate, which is really promising to see. You mentioned Nick Wood. The difference between the Audi and the BMW was on show for everybody to have a look at tonight, but Nick held his own as best he could.
Yeah, the Audis seemed really quick out of the corners, and they seemed good early on, but as the race went on, you started to see more and more wobbles in the back end of them, and the Porsche sort of looked a little bit the same. So with the BMW, it's pretty consistent from start to finish, so I was quite happy with that. So I knew I could put the car in the position and trust that it would hold the car still and straight, and I could actually get the gas down and that sort of thing. So yeah, that's what made it far more comfortable with it. Last week, I was just, the car wouldn't turn, wouldn't stop, and couldn't get out of the corner. This week, it was the exact opposite. So I was quite happy with that, and hopefully this is going to give me a bit more of a solid platform to work on for the next few weeks.
Indeed. And your thoughts on next week, Okayama?
Well, not one of my strongest tracks. I always seem to struggle there for some reason, but we'll see how we go. For the track, and again, I'd like to get a little more turn in this car. It's still got a little bit too much push there to get quick out of those corners, but we'll see how it goes. I'll work on it again as I usual, and see what we can come up with.
Indeed, indeed. Quick question, because I haven't asked anyone yet so far tonight, Woodsy, but tyre wear, what's it been like for you tonight? I mean, we had a look at Denchi's times. There was no real drop-off there, so that leads me to believe that tyre wear must have been A-OK?
There was a little bit there. I still changed 3 tyres during the race. I did 2 lefts in the stop and 1 the front right in the second stop. The other guys in the team managed to get both rights done. They took a little more fuel, so I was doing my calculation. I didn't want to risk sitting there trying to put a tyre on, so I just did the 1. And it seemed to go all right. Like I said, the car felt quite comfortable. It would have been really good if I had a second set of lefts to put back on. But yeah, overall, it felt quite good. I don't know if I'd want to do the whole race on one set. I think you'd really be struck by the end because those lefts really get hammered at this track. But yeah, for me, tyre wear wasn't too bad with the changes that I had.
Copy that. And I guess Adam Lavis, that's one of the misconceptions these days. And I'll bring Daniel Corriasar in on this when we have a chat to him in a few moments' time as well. That is one of the things that I sometimes occasionally do forget to look out for now is tyre changes in pit stops, because no longer is there so much of an invoice to pay for doing it in GT3 racing, and therefore, as a result, people willingly change those tyres a little bit more freely than they used to, and therefore the pace of the race livens up.
That
was Adam. Adam.
Adam.
Indeed, the idea is the idea is there that the tyres do last fairly comfortably a full stint, but if you look after them, you can get a bit more out of them. So it's just a sort of a way to give the guys a little bit of a restriction. So when we get to the longer races, they've got to just be mindful of when and what's the best tyre strategy to do. And that accompanied with the fact that the fuel limit of the car is being 42%, it's about 2 to 3 seconds too short to actually change all 4 tyres in a fuel stop. So the smart guys have worked out that it's that you want to do 2 in one stop and maybe 2 in another stop if you've got time.
Very nicely done. Hey, Woodsy, we appreciate you giving us your time as always, mate. Well done again.
No worries. Thanks, guys. Catch you next week.
A top 10 finish. And on that subject, manufacturer breakdown, 6 Bimmers, a Porsche and 3 Ferraris in the top 10. So very BMW top heavy tonight. The best of the Audis was Nick Wood in 11th. The best of the Lambos, Sean Benici in 18th. For whatever reason, I keep looking out for Daniel Corriasar in a Lambo, but he's upended that and gone into a Bimmer these days, and he joins us now to have a chat. Mate, good evening to you. Interesting night at the office. Not all smooth sailing, though. In the end, though, you still managed to bring it home in 15th.
Yeah, not bad. It was a lot better than last week, that's for sure. But again, the BMW is just so much more stable. It's so much better to drive. So yeah, I really like Road Atlanta. I have more experience in the faster cars here, like the GTPs. But yeah, BMW felt really, really good. And just to echo what Paul was saying before, it felt pretty much stable all the way through the first stint. I didn't change tyres in my first pit stop. My thinking was that if I left it, that I would get fresh tyres on the second stop and then hopefully use up the performance. That didn't end up working as well as I'd hoped, but in any case, still managed to bring it to 15th. So yeah, that was a good effort.
Indeed, one off-track skirmish that cost you a couple of spots, but that's Road Atlanta, isn't it? High risk, high reward, and there's no margin for error that first part of the lap, fraught with danger.
Oh, well, that so speaking of that off-track, so I believe we're talking about turn 1. Is that right? Yep. Where it was me? Yeah, so shout out to Greg Brooks. Jesus, the amount of pressure he was putting me under. So that went, I don't know how many laps that went for, but basically as we were coming into the last chicane before you go up towards the Fox Bridge, I just kept putting my car on the inside because I knew he was faster and I didn't have the pace. So my only choice was to defend. And so we did that for a couple of laps, and then I slipped up and I was driving in the mirror more than I was driving looking out the front. And yeah, we just came into that first turn and the tyre wear caught me out. I was going a little too fast, couldn't slow it up, and I just went off. And then I thought, well, fair enough, that's Greg's position, whatever. And I look back and I just see this Porsche sideways. And I'm thinking, oh, we both went off. So yeah, I ended up, I guess, retaining the position somewhat. But yeah, I ended up dropping at least a couple to some of the guys that were behind us.
strategy tonight, mate. How'd you play it and how'd you find it?
I think I did the strategy pretty much that everyone else did, except for the tires. So it was 2 straight tanks of fuel for the first, and then a full tank. And then I think it ended up being something like 27 litres for the refuel. Most people took one side of tyres on the first stop and one side of tyres on the second, and then that way you're not held up in the pit stop any longer than you have to be, because your fuel is actually what holds you to the end. Whereas I did all 4 tyres at the end, so I was held by the tyres. I still managed to come out in front of some of the guys at the back that I was racing, but for the most part, Dale Sharp and Paul Wood were like way further ahead. So I just resigned myself to fate at that point. And I just thought, okay, let's try and keep the car in one piece and bring it home. And then by the end of it, I noticed that in the relative I was catching up to Michael Schroeder, and I thought, oh, maybe I'm on for another position here. And then he ended up messing up coming into turn 2, and I sort of followed him a little bit, but I managed to get past. And then right at the end, last lap, he gave me a run down into that final chicane, and I was like, man, I hope I give him enough space, because if we crash out here, this is going to look so stupid. But no, we gave each other the space, and I just managed to have a little bit more speed going up the hill, and I crossed the line in 15th.
I was going to say, sometimes that wider exit off that second to last corner does you all the favours in the world, and it certainly did tonight. Okayama, thoughts?
I love Okayama, but I've never driven it in a GT3, so I'm more familiar in Okayama with Formula cars. I've done the MX-5s visit there like every season, so I've done it in the MX-5, but the speed isn't comparable, so it's going to be an interesting one. Not to mention, it'll look really super pretty for the broadcast, because Okayama got the graphics overhaul as well as the foliage, so as long as Adam's got that all turned on, it should look really, really pretty.
That should do indeed. Speaking of broadcast, have you missed me on a Thursday night?
Oh, mate, I always miss you, Zach. Mate, everybody misses you. Liam, but having said that, Liam did a great job. We had some fun with it. But yeah, man, I'm always willing to have you back, which I'm assuming you will be on Thursday.
It's Thursday night, yep. Off to the Gold Coast for a couple of days. My sister and niece are up to do the theme park, so I'm going to tag along and do Wet and Wild on Wednesday, and I think we might be doing a morning at either Movie World or SeaWorld on Thursday, and then I'll head home at lunchtime and get ready for the broadcast on Thursday night. So yes, I'll be back, and hopefully a little bit more refreshed as well after. I can't complain though, guys. So I had 3 weeks after coming back from holidays where I hardly had a bad night's sleep in it. The last couple of nights have changed that, unfortunately, but hopefully the Gold Coast will wear me out just enough that I'll sleep well Thursday night after the broadcast as well. And I think tonight's broadcast has worn me out enough that I'll sleep well after we get off air here. I'm not even going to watch Home and Away tonight, I don't think, boys. I think I'm just going to go straight to bloody bed.
Blasphemy.
I know. It's rough for me to be able to say that, isn't it? I know, that's terrible. But that's a sign as to how shagged I am. On that note, Daniel, looking forward to catching up with you on Thursday night, mate. Obviously, Formula V will be the standout. The Porsches will be the dessert of that. And looking forward to seeing what you bring to the table for the rest of the season. How are you finding, last one before I let you go, how are you finding the Bimmer? Because obviously, as I said in the opener as well, segueing into you, I more commonly associate you with that bloody Lambo. Now you're in the Bimmer. How are you finding it?
So the reason I chose the BMW is because I knew it was stable. I've driven it in many Enduros in the past, and so I knew that it would just be a stable platform. Unfortunately, I don't have the time that I wish I did in order to put in the practice to keep up anywhere near the guys in the Pro League. So I figured after the frustrations I had with the Lambo, I sort of made it work the first time I used it, but it seems to have changed thus far, and I just don't have the practice with it. And so it just kept trying to kill me, and I was getting frustrated, and then, I kept wanting to do the league. I wanted to keep racing, and so I figured I'll take the penalty for the first couple of rounds that I use that car, and I'll move on to the BMW because I know it's safe. It's not the fastest car out there, unless you're Matt Dench, in which car, it doesn't matter what car he drives, it's the fastest. But it's something that it's more forgiving with the less amount of time. So I actually quite enjoy it. Although at Alton Park, I don't know what it was, but it did not agree. And I think Paul Wood even and said as much. It just did not agree. Whereas here, it felt way more planted. I'm just slow. I saw people catching up to me a lot in the corner that just came past there. So, yeah, I quite enjoy it, especially in comparison to the Lambo. But for the next season, I probably won't use it. I'd probably lean. I'm thinking either the Porsche or the 296. I used the 296 when it was released, and I didn't mind it. But the Porsche gives me nightmares because it technically has the same profile as the Lambo, rear-engined rear-wheel drive. So I'm not sure if that's going to kill me either.
No, that's true. That's true. You never know what iRacing has in store for you on any given night. Mate, thank you for that. Go and get some sleep. We'll see you Thursday. Appreciate it.
No worries, mate. Thank you very much, and epic broadcast as always.
Notable absentee from the post-race show tonight, one M. Dench, nowhere to be seen. However, he's gone through the motions here of this procedure far too many times, so you start to run out of questions to throw at him. It becomes a little bit repetitive after a while, as does his on-track record and performance. But we'll catch up with him later in the week, I'm sure. We're looking forward to the Porsche Cup on Thursday night. Sean Benici saying as well that he's loving the Lambo at the moment, having been the sole occupant of that Lambo throughout the course of the night.
Absolutely not wrong. He just said skill issue Lamau. I know. I admit it. I simply do not have the time to practice that car because I really like the Lambo. One, because it sounds the best, and two, it's a Lambo. But yeah, I just don't have the time to put in the practice to have it not kill me. So you're 100% correct, Sean. It is a skill issue.
Indeed. All right, done and dusted, Daniel. Thank you, mate. Appreciate that. We'll catch up.
All right, guys. See ya.
Adam Lavis, some final thoughts from you. Obviously, an interesting night at the office. The more things change, the more they stay the same. I'm very impressed by Aidan Luthwaite, new member of the club, new name to me in recent weeks, and already second on the rostrum. And when it's only Dench ahead of you, that's nothing to turn your nose up at. He got lucky with Jared Knight going a little bit AWOL in the final 15 minutes, a little bit off the beaten track, and in the end, I guess Knight's downfall was to the benefit of Thomas Martin as well.
You know, it's a pretty good debut in the pro split, straight to second place. So walking away with some silverware and a podium. So obviously, as Greg said, very happy with his signing there to get a bit of the Bowens stickers on the broadcast. So good to see, and hopefully this week, obviously, Denchi was well ahead this week. There was no stopping this week. So hopefully next week the boys can at least take a bit of a fight to him at the start of the race and make him work for it a little bit harder.
It's I was going to say, it's not unlike us to be talking about a Dench demolition job. This week was no exception. And it goes back to exactly what I was saying partway through the race about team leaders. I'll call them that because they're not owners per se or operators because they're not making enough coin to be so. But team leaders like Greg Heaney, keeping an eye out, scouting the talent and recruiting them for the purpose of, splashing the sponsors and getting them a little bit more airtime, and they certainly succeeded with that tonight. Well done to Eli Donaldson on the win in GT3 and Chris Mack second. Dale Jeffries, William Yarwood, good result for young William. Adam Hennessy, Jaden Green backing up his podium in the supercars, of course. And then Bobby Camo, Philip Butler, Lockie Beresford, and Adam Johnson, the top 10 in GT3 tonight after what they get 43 laps of racing, so 2 less than the pro split. Championship points. And this will surprise nobody if we can scroll up to the top. Matty Dench, 230. What? Jeez. 86 points, the margin already on Jonathan Hooper, 1 point back to Jared Knight, and then 18 back to Ash Collins. What I was saying about Dench already having a round up his sleeve, it's not quite an enduro round, but it's well until he got a sprint round covered.
And that's also with the shocker for Denchi standards last week.
Yes, exactly. For Denchi standards, yeah, exactly. that's saying something. We did have a chat to him about that last week. We did say that he'd be on a mission to redeem himself this week, and redeem himself he did. John Merritt was not on the grid tonight. He's 5th. Tom Bidgood also not on the grid. 6th. Paul Wood. Richard Mitchum not on the grid. We knew that. Chuk Fung Wong and Greg Heaney, the top 10. So consistency's paying off for Greg Heaney at the moment, and just being here is paying off for him as well. Tom Martin in 11th spot. Do we have the GT3 AM? Or
Still working on those.
Still working on that. If we've got them at the end of the broadcast, we'll flash them up. In the meantime, I'm in a rush to get out of here because the old eyes are closing over on me at the desk, and that's not to say anything about the quality of the product tonight. It was top shelf. It's just that the old energy levels have dropped significantly at my end. Let's have a look at what's coming your way on the platforms. The Gentleman Sim Racing Club, Lobsy Racing up and comers tomorrow night. Oran Park in the supercars. 3-race super sprint format, so basically a wash, rinse and repeat of what we saw tonight. At 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time. The only difference to the rule there will be the amount of races. Circuit of Spa-Francorchamps for the GT1 Civil War, 35-minute race there, 9:15 Eastern Daylight Time tomorrow night. That's the main course. Wednesday night, entree, Phillip Island, 2 sprint races. Toyota Gazoo Racing 86 Australia Challenge. And that will be 2 sprint races on the agenda there, and 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time. It all kicks off, race start, that is. Followed by a 40-minute race around Magello for the GT4 Challenge, and that's from 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Thursday night, I'm back with you with Daniel Correa-Sarr. Formula V, straight inside of Formula V, Thursday night motorsport. Have a look at that. Red Bull Ring for 3 sprint races. That'll be an absolute bloody beauty. There's no doubt about that. Formula V around that slipstreaming haven. Oh, hold your breath. That'll be an absolute belter. And it is a great track for those cars. The long track, the short track, it doesn't matter. It is just a great track for those cars, and hopefully a cast of thousands lining up Thursday night. I've been chomping at the bit to get back to the Combox for Formula V. Porsche Cup follows, and a little bit of overtime for you and me this week, Daniel, because there's 60 minutes on the agenda for the Porsches, the first of the mini Enduros of the season. That's 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. We're on air from 7:40. Friday night Super Formula from Silverstone, 3 sprint races there, 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time. Mountain Men Saturday night in the HPD. Is it D? HPD ARX? Yep. And that's coming your way, 32 laps Saturday night, 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time. The Sunday Supercar Challenge, the Oval Series, Circuit TBA, hour plus race, 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time in the 2014 Spec Supercar. And more information on that one later in the week, thanks to Pete Matson. Super 2 next Monday night from WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. And that will be the penultimate one for the month of February. Round, can you believe it? Next week's round 5. Jesus, where'd that start of the season go? We're hitting the halfway mark next week. Get out of town. Monday night motorsport, week 5, night 1, term 1, takes us to Laguna Seca for Play 1 Sim Gear Super 2, and possibly a combined Super 3 split by that point as well. And then on to the GT3 series from the Okayama International Circuit. We are again showcasing the Pro Split there next Monday night, 60 minutes on the agenda, 8:45 Eastern Daylight Time. We'll have some M Split races coming up in the weeks ahead, of course, with our sprint round coverage. But that's it from us. A big thanks to all the people that make it possible for us to do what we do here every Monday and Thursday night. Waste Options, Sprite Insiders, Player One, Sim Gear, Lobsy Racing, M-Wave Australia, and Flash Graphics. Huge thanks to those people without whom none of this would be possible. And it's great that they're still on board and supporting the club in some way, shape or form in its 16th season, in its 5th year. Can you believe that? And of course, the GSRC GT3 Endurance Championships get underway, and the Le Mans Hypercars as well, on the 10th of March. And that's the same weekend that Formula One's Saudi Arabian Grand Prix takes place, MotoGP's Qatar Grand Prix, early hours Sunday, Monday morning, respectively. And we'll get it underway from Watkins Glen. We'll head then to Suzuka, Laguna Seca, Le Mans, and Motorsport before we take 3 weeks off and get the second half of the year underway. Semester B, Semester 2 with Spa, Fuji, Magello, and the Nordschleifer, Red Bull Ring, and Road America to round out the campaign. 11 races, GTP and GT3, of course, the prototype cars, the Le Mans. Is that the Le Mans hypercars again, Adam, or not?
It's I believe it's the. I'm not sure if it's the full spec Le Mans cars. I think it's sort of like a. I think they're sort of might be the one they're using now for the General Endurance Championship.
Yeah.
So I think there might be one spec down from because the Le Mans have the extra special ones that don't really race anywhere else. So I think it's more just the regular endurance series cars, the IMSA spec cars.
Yeah, they're called Le Mans Daytona. So basically they're Daytona, so LMDH. So with the WEC series, because of the way that the FIA changed those regulations, both of those can run in either series. So the LMHs can run in IMSA and the LMDHs run in WEC. So the idea was so that manufacturers would be attracted because they could spend less money and race in more
championships.
Yep.
Yep. And just throw the old money down the trough, as they say. It's good if you've got the ability to do that. There's no doubt.
Speaking of money,
thank you for that. Yes. Throwing money down yes, very nice. A good segue. I see what you did there. Not too late to buy a Valentine's Day gift for a loved one, ladies and gentlemen. GSRC.myshopify.com. Feel free to grab yourself a bottle opener, a stubby holder, a hoodie, t-shirt. There's plenty there to choose from, and merch.tgsrci.com will take you to the same place. And if you want any information about joining the club, swap out merch for race.tgsrci.com for all that information that's relevant to this great club of ours. gsrcmerch.myshopify.com, and get on board and show your support for what we do here, and what you sit back and enjoy at least 2 nights a week when we're on air. We're done week 4 of Term 1, the first night thereof in the can. We're looking forward to Thursday night motorsport with bated breath. Red Bull into Road America, 2 of the all-time great motor racing venues for just full throttle open slather racing, and looking forward to that immensely. Hope you are as well. On the way out, of course, well done to the Australian under-19s cricketers, getting another one over India in the early hours of this morning in South Africa. So in the last 12 months, Australia has won the Test Championship, defeating India in the final. They've won the Cricket World Cup men's, defeating India in the final, and now they've won the under-19s men's World Cup final, defeating India as well. And it was exact reminiscent scenes of what we saw in 2003 when Australia beat India in the Men's Cricket World Cup in South Africa as well. So something about South Africa and India works in Australia's favour at the moment. Well done to the boys. They did a great job. And, of course, well done to, I just want to say quickly, well done to Ben Bargwana, to Ryan Casher, to Jordan Cox, to Josh Buchan. Basically the entire TCR field, because that was great racing throughout the course of the weekend, particularly from Casher, a debutant in the campaign and top 5 in the championship after his first hit out. So he went into this weekend with no great expectations whatsoever, but delivered on the stage, and that's what matters most. They're off to Simmons Plains in March. We're off to the Red Bull Ring and Road America on Thursday. Plenty of great racing throughout the course of the week for club members, but not on broadcast, of course. Hope you enjoyed it. On behalf of Adam Lavis and all the crew here, I'm Zach Caben. We'll team up with Daniel Correa-Sar and go around again on Thursday night, a straight inside of Thursday Night Motorsport. Until then, have a great evening, everybody. And if you do have a loved one on Wednesday, I hope you have a nice Hallmark holiday. On behalf of the crew here, it's bye for now.